This week on the Steam Machine Podcast.
Moshimash Kiryu-chan, ongaku o kiyu ni iru?
I got that right. I actually got it right. I'm pretty sure I got that right.
Congrats.
Welcome back to the Steam Machine Podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me as always are my good buddies,
The Destructo Bros. This is your youngest Destructo Bro, Nate.
This is the elder Destructo Bro, Willie. You phrased that in a really weird way that I had to deal with. Cool.
the Elder God, Ice Brand.
Scary.
Gentlemen.
And then we had the Secro Destructo brother, who will never show up on an episode of the podcast.
How are you, gentlemen, this week?
Oh, you know.
I died, actually. I died 2 weeks ago. Shit. I'm dead. I hate to tell you guys this. I fucking died.
Oh, yeah, we have a seance going right now.
Yep.
I hate to find out this way.
I know, dude. You were just like chatting and you didn't even know you were talking to a Ouija board. It's fucked up.
Damn.
I did feel the temperature drop. I need to go get the thermometer.
Yeah, no. If it's under 5 degrees, we're cool.
Manchester was just haunted, and we had him speaking into a spirit box this whole time, so the whole episode was like, hey. All the static the whole time.
You just hear Majima.
Just a little tiny voice from the afterlife radios back. Chan. It's not Kun, it's Chan. Shit, I fucked it up.
It's all good.
I fucked up the very funny joke.
It still got the point across.
So what you been playing this week, man? Anything interesting? Any new Doom wads? Anything other than our game of the week, which we'll touch on?
Shit. What have I been up to this week? I don't know. Not much. Let's just say not much and keep it rolling.
Word. What about you, Nate?
Yeah, it's been a very Sega-heavy couple weeks for me.
Yeah.
So, obviously, this game, Yakuza Kiwami, that we're talking about this week, is a Sega game. But also decided to load up, because I was getting close to the end of it, and I was like, I still want to play as Kiryu. So I put up Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania on my Steam again. And because you can play as Kiryu in that for some reason, and it's adorable and funny.
Neat.
So ended up playing a lot more of that. And then got bored at work yesterday and decided to play through all of Streets of Rage 2.
Yeah.
So that was good. But then finally, a little game came out at midnight last night that I've been looking forward to for quite some time. Sonic Frontiers finally released.
Yeah.
That's the open world Sonic the Hedgehog game, correct?
Yeah, it's fairly open world, and boy, it's a doozy.
So, in terms of openness to it, is it like as open world as like Kirby, the latest Kirby game, or is it like more open world in the sense of like Breath of the Wild?
It's definitely not as open as like a Breath of the Wild or Skyrim. Like you're kind of relegated to, so like it's relegated to different islands, and I just completed the first island today. Okay. But the islands are fairly large. Like I haven't played the new Kirby game, so I can't compare it to that. I'm trying to think of a good comparison point. Like it's definitely a lot bigger than Kamurocho, but it's a lot smaller than Hyrule. You know what I mean? Okay. So but the one thing I'll say about the game is like, it feels good to go fast again. Like Sonic moves fast and it feels good. Like the controls are finally good in the Sonic 3D game, and it's wonderful. And just like, I think the way they've been delivering the story so far has been really interesting too. You get little pieces of it here and there. The graphics are fine. Like it's nothing to write home about, but it looks good enough for what it is. It's a Sonic game. If it looked super realistic, I'd be worried about it.
Yeah, we all saw what realistic Sonic looks like. Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
Although, that would be a cool DLC just to have. Make him look like that.
But the thing about the marketing is like the only other character I think you saw in the trailer was Amy. And I've been getting doses of other characters I wasn't expecting. Well, I guess this one is a spoiler because it was actually a trailer for Sonic Frontiers 2. It's Knuckles. I've met Knuckles and Amy so far in it. So it's been like, I wasn't like in the first few trailers that you saw nothing of any other characters. So I was like, this seems like it's just going to be a Sonic solo adventure. Like Sonic's been the only playable character so far, but it's been really cool seeing, you know, your old favorites back in the game. And I just think the gameplay is really good. It's fast. It has a few puzzles. Like it wants to do a lot of things similar to Breath of the Wild, but instead, like, you know how you had all those little shrines in Breath of the Wild where you'd go in and do some puzzles? This game, it has more like shrines in the sense of you go in and play a Sonic stage. Like you'll play like a quick snippet of Green Hill Zone as opposed to playing through a puzzle dungeon like in Breath of the Wild.
Oh, that's cool.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah, and the sound design's really good too. Like you can tell that they took a lot of ideas from Breath of the Wild in it. Like a lot of times I'm like, oh yeah, this is what it sounds like when you find a Korok in Breath of the Wild. Hey, you found it! But I like the music in it a lot. It's very much what's the word? Atmospheric rather than just like straight up tunes. Yeah. But then when you get into like those like dungeony like levels, like what I was talking about, like it's called cyberspace, I think is what it's called in the game. Like those have like that's where the tunes are, but otherwise it's just like the ambient background music, and I think it's really well done and well placed.
Nice.
Like, I can't say enough good things about this game. Like, I waited until midnight when it dropped to download it immediately so I could start playing it. And then when I finally did, I was like, this isn't going to be that good, is it? But the more I've played it, the more I've been enjoying it. Like I said, I've only beaten the first island so far, and I'm on the second island, and I'm about 6 hours in, so not bad. I feel like I'm going to get my money's worth on a release day game, $60 game.
Well, that's good, dude. Like from the screenshots that you've shown me, and then like things that I've seen here and there on YouTube, it looks like a Sonic game that I might actually like play and enjoy. I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, I just typically like when I get to the water levels and stuff on the older Sonic games, I tend to tap out.
Yeah, for sure. But, and did you ever play a 3D Sonic game? Like, did you ever play like Sonic Adventure or Sonic Colors?
No, I've only ever played like the old 2D games.
Yeah, so Sonic definitely is inspired by his like 3D movements, but he has some new moves too that are really cool. He has one called like the Psy-Loop, I think is what it's called. Like it's like a cyclone loop. But what you do is you can run around in a circle and basically put the enemies into a cyclone that spins them around and pushes them up. And it's just the combat feels way better than I would have expected a Sonic game to. Like it's actually ridiculous at how good it is.
Huh.
Well, good, man. Maybe this will put some good faith back into the Sonic franchise, like, because it seems like usually when they announce a new Sonic game, what I see online, everyone is very, they're either glass half empty or half full. There's no one with a full glass other than maybe like you. I know usually you're pumped no matter what. And I respect the fuck out of that, by the way, because I'm the same way with like Star Ocean games and stuff. I'm like, people are going to be, oh, the last Star Ocean wasn't that good. It's like, well, yeah, but whatever. It's still Star Ocean. Fuck it. I like it.
Yeah.
No, this sounds really dope. Like, you actually have got me wanting to play this game, which is pretty cool. Like, I still think maybe the next 3D game I'm going to play is probably going to be Kirby, but after that, I would love to play Sonic Frontiers.
Yeah, and I don't know where it's going to land on the scheme of things for people who aren't the biggest Sonic fans of the world, because, like, obviously I love Sonic, so I'm kind of predisposed to like it. But outside of that, I still think it's a good game. If this had another franchise attached to it, I don't think people would be complaining about it.
That's the thing is, I don't think that it sounds like you're just bringing this game up as, like, a good game because you're a Sonic apologist. It sounds like you're actually just enjoying playing the video game. Like, it sounds like an actual good game.
Yeah, like, once we're done recording this episode, I'm probably going to go play for another hour before I have to go to bed.
Maybe we should fucking rush this one in, then.
No, definitely not. But yeah, it's a great time. Like, I'd definitely recommend it. If you're a Sonic fan, absolutely buy it immediately because it's fantastic. If you're not, I still think it's a good game. I think you'd end up liking it, especially if you like open world games that have the open world feel where exploration is key. Like, it's really fun doing the exploration in this game. And the one thing is there's a lot of collectibles, but it gives you an abundance of them. So, like, you need to get like so many memory tokens or whatever to be able to unlock and help Amy do something. But there's way more than the amount you'll ever need in the game to be able to find. So it's not like you're just trying to find the last two and you have no damn clue where they are. Like,
Okay.
and the map markers really do a good job of helping you see where things are on the map.
So as a Sonic fan, as a fan of the series, how do you feel like, I mean, this is really early, so you don't have to feel like married to your answer here or whatever, but like, how would you rank this game in your like top 5, top 10 Sonic games? Like, it's obviously not Sonic 2 or whatever, but like, where would it be?
It is making a very strong case to be my favorite 3D Sonic game.
Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah, like, I think I'm weird because I think Colors is probably the best Sonic 3D game to this point.
Because it is actually.
Yeah.
Sonic Colors actually whips ass.
People will argue that, but some people say Unleashed is good, and I think it's trash, but whatever.
Sonic Colors is just only the good parts of Unleashed in a video game.
Right? But I think this might be the best 3D Sonic, and the only, like you said, I think the only ones that compete with it at all are the 2D games, which is like a totally different kind of thing. Like, I think Sonic Mania is fantastic, Sonic 2 and 3 are both fantastic, but like, I don't know, like, if Sonic Mania is number 1, Sonic 2 is probably number 2, this might be number 3 out of my favorite Sonic games.
Holy shit, that's an incredible recommendation.
Yeah.
That really makes me actually really want to try this game. Like, seriously, I will drive to your house and play this video game.
I wonder. Oh, it's on PC too, right?
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, it is.
I forget. That's right, because it pops up on Steam and tells me that you're playing. For some reason,
I've got this on Steam. Because I just know that the Switch release probably does not play nearly as good.
I think you made the right. I think you made the right correction.
I got a notification on YouTube from one of my channels that I follow today that was like Sonic Frontiers. Yeah. I don't know what the hell I was about to say, but yes, Sonic Frozen. I'm like, that's not right. Sonic Frontiers does not run well on the Switch.
Let it go. Let it go.
Does not run well on the Switch. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Most things because this game is, I wouldn't say it's graphically intense, but it does put more effort into its graphics than the games that run the best on the Switch. Like, it looks way better than a Pokemon game, and the graphics are more on the realistic side than, say, like Mario Odyssey, where Mario Odyssey is like a little bit more cartoony. This one does have a little bit more realism to it, and the Switch just chugs when you try to play anything that has any semblance of realistic graphics in it.
Oh yeah, I heard Metal Jesus one time. He was talking about playing one of the newest Wolfenstein games on the Switch, and he said that he was like, this might be a Switch killer. He goes, because my Switch was like hot. And the fans were whirring in it, like, when I was playing.
I can't imagine playing some of these games that the Switch has on it on the Switch. Like, I think it sucks at playing Skyrim, because I bought Skyrim on the Switch originally.
Yeah.
And I think it does a terrible job of playing Skyrim. That's why I didn't like Skyrim for such a long time.
Which is hilarious, because Skyrim came out like 5 years before the Switch did.
But I didn't have the systems to play it, you know what I mean? So I can't imagine people playing, like, Doom Eternal or Mortal Kombat 11 on
That's what jumped
Switch.
out to me was Doom Eternal. Yeah, it's like, come on now. That game should melt a Switch.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised the system was as good as it was with games like Dead Cells and Hollow Knight and all of that.
Like, I've been a long time Nintendo apologist, but I'm like, they need to put some power in whatever the next system is to be able to handle some things. Like, if the Steam Deck can do it, you know what I mean? The Switch should be able to, like, the next Nintendo system, whatever it should be able to handle more than it can.
It's going to come out. They listen. It's going to come out in the news and it's going to be like, new Nintendo device comes stock with an RTX 490 or 4090.
Oh, it's the Cumstock, finally.
The Cumstock 4090.
The Cumstock 4090. God, that actually really does sound like a piece of machine, though.
It does, yes.
Like, if someone told you that they bought a Cumstock 4090, you'd be like, yeah, that's not right.
I would be like, do you mean Comstock? And they'd be like, no. And I'd be like, all right.
I'd believe if you told me that was a strain of weed, too.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen some ridiculous names. Even when I went to the dispensary and I'm like looking through the menu.
This is Hippie Crusher. This is Cumstock.
Looking through a menu of weed is just like one of the coolest things.
That's so funny.
But yeah, just having the names of some of them are just hilarious, like Florida Funky or like things like
Florida
that.
Funky.
Whatever.
That's your porn name.
I'm like, Sonic, he doesn't chuckle. That's the name of the fucking strand.
Did you say it's my porn name, Florida Funky? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Florida Funky. Wow, 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 wow.
I've been feeling
I'm so sad that I made a halfway decent joke and Nathan made a way funnier one at the exact same second. And he was the right one to follow up on. Oh, it's Knuckles.
Knuckies.
Yeah, I got
He
my
does
little
some
toy,
chuckles.
my little plushy Knuckles in my hands while we're recording this. Gotta have something to do with my hands.
I'm playing with a little Reptar cereal box that's metal.
Nice.
I bought
I'm
this
just gonna
candy.
keep on drinking this cola until I run out, but it's gonna run out pretty soon. I'm down to like the last 12 fluid ounces, I think.
Nice. That's cool, Dalton. Where'd you get that?
So when me and Megan were in St. Augustine last weekend, maybe the weekend before, we went to the little candy shop that's attached to the hot sauce shop.
Yeah.
And I saw I grabbed a bunch of other stuff and the girl rang it up and she was like, my total was like $6. And I was like, really? That's it for all this candy I have? I was like, hold on. And I went and grabbed these because I wanted this. So the little candy inside were like these hard ass green balls that were like not great. They were like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Bad?
Like when a video game is a tie-in for a movie.
Bad?
Yeah, we got nothing, dude.
Oh god, okay, doesn't matter. But like they're just like knockoff nerds.
Okay.
Like, right? And
You're a knockoff nerd, bitch.
and they weren't great, but like, dude, this is like this is all like on the metal. It's like raised and it's like it's a good little case. I was like, man, you could keep your weed in there. So
Oh, hooray.
I got that. And just get some Reptar green. Let's see. What have I been up to the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, what have you been up to?
A lot of work.
What the fuck are you? Who are you? Who's this guy?
I am a man who just lives at Walgreens these days, apparently.
Apparently. Holy shit.
I worked, let's see, yesterday was my first day off.
Something like 9 days in a row,
It was
right?
7 straight. It was 7 straight after 3.
Jeez.
So it was like 3 days, 1 day off, 7 days in a row. Then I was off yesterday, I'm off today, and then I work the next 4 days in a row, I think. So that won't be so bad. 4 or 5 is not bad, but when you start hitting that 6, 7, and then my shift lead tells me that one time one of the shift leads got COVID and she had to work 12 days in a row.
Oh my god.
And I was like, God, please don't do that to me. Please don't do that to me. I will have a fucking mental breakdown by day 10.
Which part don't give you COVID or don't give you 12 days in a row?
Both.
12 days in a row.
Because you get to pick one. You get to pick one now. The genie is lit.
I'll take the COVID.
I'll take the COVID too. Yeah, fuck,
I'll take the
fuck that.
Y'all think y'all are young and hot, and young, dumb, and full of cum, but
I've
you
had
don't
it before.
even
I
know.
can survive it.
Fine. You had the Omicron. You had the bullshit doofus fucking version.
I think I had something like before COVID hit. I got really fucking sick, but it was like a stomach
I think
thing.
I actually did have the Omicron a little while back too.
Like I was in bed for like a week, couldn't keep anything down. Like it was like to the point that I almost had to go to the hospital. Like my dad almost took me to the hospital because he was like, "I'm gonna have them inject fluids into you, like intravenously." Like I could not keep anything down, and I finally started to be able to keep down a mixture of Pedialyte and water, and I would just start sipping that, and then slowly could eat some crackers and things. But and then I don't know, maybe a year after I got that sick, COVID happened.
Yeah.
Damn, baby, I didn't know you needed someone to inject fluids into you.
My goodness.
That was my attempt to be Majima of this podcast.
In South Park, what started COVID was Randy had sex with a pangolin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the random thing that they came up with that started COVID. Oh man, my throat. So I did start taking antihistamines. I'm hoping that helps with my allergies and the post-nasal drip and shit, which will make me not have to clear my throat so often. But yeah, other than that, dude, I told the story on Yazpod, so I won't go into it. But me and Megan discovered something really cool this week. And if you'd like to hear more about that, go listen to this week's Yabs Pod. Let's see, what else? I bought Bug Snacks today. So Bug Snacks was on sale for $9.99. And as you're listening to this, it's on sale till the November 15th. So I do recommend it is definitely worth $10.
Oh, nice.
And
yeah, I went ahead and grabbed it today too, man.
Did you?
I saw this when you posted. I went ahead and scooped it up. It's like $10, and it looks like something I'll have a ton of fun with.
It is definitely one I've wanted to try for a long time.
And I would like to do a revisit for the show with it sometime, because there's been a whole thing with the Isle of Big Snacks that came out that I haven't even played, because that came out after me and Ryan had done the episode on it. So,
nice.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll get around to doing that sometime.
I don't know, maybe revisiting things could be something we kind of get into. Maybe we can do like a block of revisits or something like that too. You know?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea.
Not that I'm giving away programming notes to future listeners, but you know, it is an idea that has happened.
And then I wanted to tell people, because I know, I think I mentioned it to Dave, but I played this game with Megan called Dinkum, and we just haven't gone back to it yet, but like it's fun. So like
Dinkum?
It's called Dinkum. Dinkum.
Sorry, nothing is allowed to be called Dinkum. That's terrible.
So what it is?
That sucks.
Well, what it is it is Animal Crossing on PC, except you don't play as animals, you play as Australians.
Same thing.
So
sorry, Adam.
Wow, Adam, please forgive us.
So like Adam,
I'm sorry.
you play as your people. And it's an adorable game, and it's just like, so far it seems just like Animal Crossing with some mix of Stardew Valley in there, where it seems like you don't necessarily have to wait 3 days for something to happen. At least I haven't seen anything like that yet. Whereas in Animal Crossing, you play that game enough, you'll eventually hit this wall where you have to wait at least 24 hours to do anything.
Oh wow.
And yeah, because it plays in real time.
Cool. Yeah, I remember you sent me some screenshots of Dinkum. It did look really cute and fun, though, so I'm glad you guys have been enjoying that.
Yeah. Man, and I've been watching her play Slime Rancher 2, so that's been interesting.
Nice.
Yeah,
I really do want to try Slime Rancher. That seems like a lot of fun. I think you're nodding your head, too. I feel like you would also really enjoy those series.
Yeah, I've seen it a few times. It's one that's always kind of jumped out to me. It's one that kind of has been sitting in my wish list on Steam for a while. I think it might be on Game Pass, so I might need to try it out, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
Ooh, nice.
Oh yeah. And I don't know too. Like also, she sat in Discord and watched me play some Yakuza, and that was just like fun. It was like watching her reactions to these characters that she has no like relationship with. Where I'm like, oh, look, there's Majima. I'm like, he's crazy. Listen, and then I sent her a song from I sent her Rain. I was like, listen, this song plays when he loses his fucking mind in Yakuza 0. And it's fantastic. Yeah, it's good shit, man. It's good shit. And speaking of Yakuza, you boys want to roll right?
Oh, I actually did have one more thing.
By all
I
means.
did have one of my own, actually.
Yeah.
I meant to try this shit earlier. I got two of them. I have one of them with me, but it's Nangshim Shin Ramyun.
Ooh.
Which is like the most beloved instant ramen that's going on right now. It's this Korean style one that is apparently really good, and so I did try it. And you know what? It's really good. I mean, it's $1.20 of good instant ramen. It tastes really good. It's ramyun because it's Korean. Which I kind of appreciate when, like, the name of something in a different language is slightly similar to one I know. Like, manhwa is also, like, Korean for manga. And so, like, that's like, hey, thank you, love that. Make it easy for me. But yeah, so ramyun is basically Korean for ramen. Anyway, the Shin Ramyun, highly recommend. Very tasty. If you have $1.20 to spend on a bowl of ramen, just do it.
I do like ramen a lot, dude.
Yeah.
Like when I make it, I'll add stuff to it, like some angel hair cabbage, some shredded carrot, some sesame oil.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And people have told me that the Brick brand, the Shin Ramyun, is like fantastic for adding ingredients to. But I just had it like out of the bowl, and I was like, that's good. That's good.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah!
It's a different podcast.
we're still like 20 months ago, or 20 weeks ago's fucking tadpog joke. Hell yeah!
So, Gentlemen, this week we played, or I guess it's these 2 weeks, whatever. I say shit. Yakuza Kiwami. So Yakuza, let's go into the O-dubs.
O-dubs?
Obligatory Wikipedia bullshit. Yakuza Kiwami is an action-adventure video game developed by Sega. It is a remake of Yakuza, and hold that thought because we'll get back there in a minute, which is the first game in the Yakuza series. Originally released on Sony's PlayStation 2. Yakuza Kiwami was released on PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 in Japan on my birthday, January 21st, 2016. And on PlayStation 4 in Europe and North America on August 29th, 2017. So it didn't get a PS3 release here. Interesting. So it was also ported for Windows worldwide on Steam February 19th, 2019. And was released on Xbox One April 21st, 2020.
Wow, that's so much after it came out originally.
I know, right? So, like, a lot of Yakuza fans are very happy that the game is now getting recognition, because it took till like 0 for people to play that and be like, "Damn, this is really," and then check out all these other Yakuza games that came out because this was a cult series for a long time.
Yeah.
But quickly, I wanted to read the first little blurb about the original Yakuza game, which I'm going to emulate tonight just to see how it is, right?
Oh, cool. Hell yeah.
Yakuza is an action-adventure game developed and published by Sega for the PlayStation 2. It was released in 2005 in Japan and September 2006 internationally. And the story follows Kazuma Kiryu, a Yakuza member who spent 10 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. After being released, he learns that the criminal underworld is searching for 10 billion yen that has been stolen from the Tojo clan. He comes across an orphan named Haruka who is being targeted by the clan. She is believed to have the key to their lost money, and Kiryu resolves to protect her. The game takes place in Kamurocho, a realistic recreation of Tokyo's Kabukicho district. Now, like the original PlayStation 2 game, Yakuza Kiwami explores the life of a man, Kazuma Kiryu, who is demoted from his clan after taking the blame for his boss's murder. After a decade in prison, Kiryu searches for his old friends who have gone missing. The remake adds extra elements to the story, including Akira Nishikiyama's corruption during Kiryu's imprisonment and constant struggles between Kiryu and his rival Goro Majima. The gameplay was improved to resemble the prequel, Yakuza 0, adding more depth to the fighting system.
That makes a lot of sense. Both of those things.
Several
of those things.
So now I really want to play the original and see how it was different for Nishiki.
I think they probably just didn't have all the details of his undoing that we got. I would imagine he was just like a straight villain that you would just expect to see in a video game from 2005, rather than the kind of nuanced character that we ended up getting after Zero and in Kiwami.
I bet they added like all of those flashback cutscenes and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
That is literally what I thought too, yeah.
Wow. So one more paragraph and then we can start getting to our first thoughts and stuff. It says, Sega had ideas to remake the first Yakuza game in 2015 as part of the series' 10th anniversary, but were unsure about developing due to their team focused on making Yakuza 0. Following the success of 0, Sega started working on the remake of the first game and aimed to add new elements to the story while trying to make it more enjoyable than the original game. The game was well received, earning positive sales. Critics praised its simplicity of gameplay, but were divided by the handling of the storyline and the pacing. Yakuza Kiwami was followed up by Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, later in 2016, and another remake based on the second game, titled Yakuza Kiwami 2, was released in 2018. So other than Like a Dragon, I guess Kiwami 2 is the newest one.
Yeah. Yeah. With that being said, I'm really looking forward to Yakuza 6 a lot, because that is the one that's kind of came out between Kiwami and Kiwami 2.
Yeah.
I am a little scared when we get to Yakuza 3 through 5.
Yeah, that's the awkward middle growth, because they couldn't have remade those yet, and yet they're going to be important for us to get to 6.
They're not remade, but they were remastered.
Right.
Remastered, so it's going to be in HD, but it's going to be a lot more awkward gameplay wise and story wise. I feel like a lot of the quality of life shit that we're really accustomed to already, we are going to lose.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I want to say that Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 were PS3 games, and then they got remastered for PS4. Let me look real quick.
That sounds right to me. It's just...
Yeah. Seems accurate.
But yeah, even still, PS3 games, like, so one of the games we're coming up on playing, Kingdoms of Amalur, like, I first played that on PS3.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So while that game is really fun, there are things about it that make you go, okay, so you can tell that this is a product of its time. So very, 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 wow, let me try that again. It may very well be that Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 didn't age super well, but I don't know, man. Like, as long as the story just keeps being as good as it's been,
Yeah.
that's what matters the most to me.
For sure.
But I mean, even in this game, there were some fights and some moments in this game that I felt like played pretty badly. So, like, I think when we get to things that didn't even have that revision, that's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can see that. Especially, like, probably 3, because that'll be, like, the earliest of the ones, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm expecting 3 to be the hardest to get through of the series for us, where I think 4 will be improved and 5 will be improved on that, and then 6 is just going to feel amazing. Because 6 will be like our coming home moment when we get through 3 through 5.
Yeah, because it's going to be quite the jump going from the newest one in Kiwami 2 to 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But then we'll round it up all the way back, and then we'll get into Like a Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Ichiban's struggle. That's going to be fun.
And then we can get into like a Dragon Ishin, and then Like a Dragon, the man who forgot his name.
Oh shit, that's
and all of those.
We have Judgment, Lost Judgment.
There's so many more fucking games.
Judgment too. Yeah. God, this series is going to be with us forever, and I'm so happy about it.
Me too.
I know it's going to be like Yakuza, Final Fantasy,
Trails.
I was going to say the Legend of Heroes series, and then like I was going to say Dragon Quest, but I guess there's only a handful of them on PC so far. But
yeah, there's like, okay, I'm sorry, we're getting derailed as hell on this, but like, why is like literally every Final Fantasy gotten a pixel remaster and put onto Steam, and yet Dragon Quest can't get a single game other than 11 on Steam? Like, eat my shorts, Square.
I don't know if they still think that the want's not there, but I mean they did the remasters for the Switch for Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3, and I bought them. I mean I haven't played them because they're on my Switch, but I bought them.
How hard would that have been to put on PC? Eat my shorts, Square.
Yeah, or 8 or Dragon Quest 7 or any of them except 10.
Except 10.
All of them went to even when they got remade into horrible mobile consoles that no one has anymore.
Yeah, and it's like, damn it, man, give us some Dragon Quest love. Slime time.
Amen. Slime time.
It's slime time.
Anyway, why don't we talk about Yakuza
Quizami?
Wow, Quizami?
Quiznos.
Yo, Quizami.
Let's go to the Yakuza Quiznos.
John Lick Quizami. Oh man. So rolling into this one, first of all, I want to know, what were your expectations going from Zero, which we knew was a prequel, to this one? Let's start.
Sorry. So for me, like, I just really thought that, okay, this is going to be 1-to-1 exactly like Zero. Like, Kiwami's just going to be like the story from Yakuza 1 updated and put into the Yakuza engine that they use for Zero. And it's just going to play exactly like Zero, but you only get to play as Kiryu. That was what I thought I was going to get going into it. Just a different story with just Kiryu, but the same exact everything else.
All right. What about you, Willie?
That's funny, because that is almost exactly not what I expected. I actually expected this game would still be a little archaic and a little bit weird and, like, dated even after they updated it. So I didn't really have really high hopes going into it, even though I know the game was highly regarded. I thought it was still going to have a lot of old-timey PlayStation 2 era quality of life issues.
Okay, so I kind of thought it was a mix of both. I hate to be like the middle porridge, but like I thought that it was going to look better and it was going to play better because they based it off of Zero. But like Willie said, I also thought that maybe they didn't patch out some of the shit that would have bugged you back in the day. Like, one of the things that I thought was a great touch, and I noticed it right off the bat, Kiryu had a cell phone now, so you could save wherever you wanted.
Yep.
That was beautiful.
And it added autosaves, which Zero did not have.
Yeah. And
hell yeah.
And that is something that I guarantee the original Yakuza didn't have.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Back in the day. So, like, but like, I didn't know how prominent Majima would be. That was one of the things that I was curious about.
As it turns out, super fucking prominent.
Majima everywhere.
Majima everywhere.
Majima everywhere.
I hate to admit that my final rank with Majima everywhere at the end of the game when I beat it was F.
Oh no!
I got it up from whatever.
I only got up to A, and I felt bad about it.
Nate got SSS+.
Nate, you're like triple S or some shit, aren't you?
Yeah, I got triple S.
Beautiful. I couldn't find him. Fuck it. If we're gonna be all over the place this episode. Sorry, everybody. But like, so I couldn't find the motherfucker. Like, once you get like a call from one of his people, they're like, "Hey, Majima's missing. He said he was going to look for you, and we haven't seen him since. He's probably hiding in an alley somewhere." And I went down all kinds of alleys and never found him again.
He was hiding in so many different places. Like, I think when that would happen for me, I had to find him, and he was hiding under a giant traffic cone.
I was gonna ask you if you guys saw the traffic cone thing, or if that was in Kiwami too. Yes, dude. That's I've seen that moment on PlayStation Access, and it cracks me up every time. He just pops out. Hey, let's fight, Kiryu.
Oh, so you didn't see him pop out from a garbage can either, then?
No.
Or the sewers.
That's also. I didn't see the sewers yet, so that you got me on that one.
I did end up going to a bar. I got like invited to his bar, and he was the bartender, and he sold me a bunch of cheap booze and I was like, "No, I'm not paying you." And he's like, "Oh, that means we have to fight." And Kiryu's like, "Okay," and Majima was just like, "I love you," or whatever, and then they go out there and they fight because he just loves fighting. And
that was a great scene.
But no, there's probably a bunch of stuff that I didn't see, which we'll cover later. But like, but yeah, so when the game first starts out, correct me if I'm wrong, does it immediately start going to the stuff where like Kiryu goes in and they're at the bar, him and Nishiki are at the bar with the girls, and it kind of does the whole you do the gift thing, isn't that like right at the beginning?
That's a little bit.
It's
very early into the first chapter. The very first thing you do in the game is you meet this guy called Shinji, and you help him because he comes to you. He's like, "I shouldn't be having to ask you for this, boss, but can you help me out with this job? I'm trying to do a collections job over at Peace Finance." That's right. So
that's right.
You go with Shinji over to Peace Finance, and you basically beat the crap out of the loan officer there to get the money from him.
I love the fact that Peace Finance still gets marked on your map for the rest of the game as a story important place. That's the only time they ever come up. You just beat the hell out of them, and it's like, okay.
Yep. And then, what ifs? And then after that job at Peace Finance, you get a phone call from Nishiki, and that's when you go to the bar Serena, and you go and meet with Yumi, Reina, Nishiki, and you.
That's right. That's right. And that's when you have to go, and you end up. Is it Reina that tells you about the ring?
Yeah, so like you find out that it's Yumi's birthday coming up, and you just need to get her a present. And so Nishiki's like, "I already got her a present, you dumbass. I got her this badass necklace. Why can't you get her a gift?" And then Reina suggests that you get her a ring.
That's right.
I mean, it's a nice ring, and she says she's like looked at it in like a magazine and all that. It's like a famous designer ring. It's not just like any old ring.
Yeah, and it's from France.
It's pretty cool. It's from France. Francais. We are from France.
And he has it engraved with Yumi's name on it. It makes it all pretty for her. And I'm trying to remember.
And she loved it, and Reina was like, then Reina was like, "Well, it's my birthday next. Where do you guys know what you're going to get me?" And she was like, "Why don't you get me a necklace, Kiryu? Why don't you get me a ring, Nishiki?" Because the kind of significance there was this, Yumi didn't want a ring from Nishiki because he'd offered that before, but she did accept a ring from Kiryu. So it's kind of more of the closer to the heart kind of thing of more love than friendship or, brotherly, sisterly thing. Because the thing about those, we find out about Yumi too, she also grew up in Sunflower Orphanage like Kiryu and Nishiki did. She was there with them at the time. So They were like this big trio of good orphan buddies.
They were...
Big trio of good orphan buddies. That sentence just whipped out. I just wanted you to say, I love that. That made me smile.
Yeah.
I do want to say that like it does a good job kind of hinting at a slight bit of tension with Nishiki over the girl. Like just some of the looks that he would give during that.
Yeah, it is quite obvious that Nishiki does have it for Yumi as well.
Both kind of competing. I'm sorry. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but then shortly after that, you take that briefcase of money to the Kazuma office, where I think it's Kashiwagi's there, and you hand him the briefcase. And then you get this frantic phone call from Nishiki saying, like, Yumi's got taken. She's been kidnapped by Dojima.
Yeah, the head of your clan.
The head of the clan. And Nishiki's like, I'm going there right now to get her back. And Kiryu's like, wait for me. So basically you have to rush and run to go to get, try to rescue Yumi from Dojima, which is going to be an awkward situation. But when you get there, you find, well, it's pretty awkward, but not as bad as, well, it's worse than you think. Because Dojima's laying there in a pile of blood and Nishiki has a pistol in his hand.
And Dojima's dead as fuck.
Yeah, absolutely, totally dead. And when you get there, Kiryu's like, take Yumi and run.
Nishiki.
I'll take the fall for this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do this for you, my Kyodai.
Yeah, and so then the police get there and you get arrested. And you do get this little cutscene of this guy, this detective named Date, who's like, you know it's not this Kiryu guy, right? Something's not right here. It's not Kiryu who killed him.
Yeah, and the whole thing, too, was I believe that he told Nishiki to run because of Nishiki could take care of Yumi, but also Nishiki's sister who needed him.
Yeah.
And, yeah, man, that was a heart-wrenching scene to me. Being, like, Kiryu being like, no, I know there were consequences of this. Take her and get out of here. I'm going to take the fall for this. Like, I don't know. I respected Kiryu a lot for that, but at the same time, I was like, Kazuma, run!
Yeah.
That's right, because, like fucking, apparently Nishiki, his sister is, like, she's up for her last surgery, basically. And if this one doesn't take, she's just going to die. She's had a terminal disease for most of her life.
Yeah. So she's very ill, and that's part of why Kiryu's like, go, Nishiki, run, take Yumi and go. I'll take the fall for her, because he wants him to be able to take care of his sister as well. Because without Nishiki, she has, like, nobody, basically. But yeah, after that, you get into prison, and of course, one of the first things that happens when you're in prison is you get attacked in prison by some of the inmates, and you have to have a nice prison brawl.
Beat the shit out of those dudes.
Yeah.
Now, let me interject. Excuse me. The combat. Did you guys find it easier this time around? And maybe because we played Zero first. Because some of these early fights, I went in and wiped the fucking floor with them. Whereas I feel like in Zero, in the early fights, it was pretty even keeled.
I think one of the things is one of the earliest memories I have of Yakuza 0, which is very imprinted on me now, is that scene where you're running through the building and you have to keep fighting that guy with the knives. Like, I think it was Kuze's, like, bodyguard or whatever. He keeps coming at you through the window, and then, like, you knock him out one time, then 5 minutes later. And that got rough real early because you had, like, a real boss-type character fighting you early on in the game. And you didn't have, like, a boss-type character anywhere near as early in the game until you get out of jail. And then I think it's one of those scripted lost battles too. So it's one of those things that I think it didn't ramp up as quick. It gave you a little bit more time to practice your fighting with the guys in the prison and the peace finance officers. I
just felt like once I got back into the swing of rush mode, just that quick dodging between their hits and just throwing, like, 6 or 7 quick jabs. Yeah, it was just like riding an old bike, I suppose.
Yeah. But yeah, you get into that fight and everything, and you're like... Actually, first, what happens is you get a letter that's from Shinji, brings you a letter from Sarah, Chairman Sarah, who says that you've been expelled from the Yakuza. And then...
It's important, though, that the word is expelled, not banished, but expelled.
Right.
Because apparently those are very different levels. Like, if you had been banished, that means if you would even talk to a Yakuza, that guy would be under punishment. So, like, you were, like, given the middle punishment, which is wild, considering you just confessed to killing Dojima.
Yeah, the patriarch. You're, like, literally committed patricide, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't think about it being patricide. Yeah, it's absolutely... fucked them up.
Yeah, and so then you get into that prison brawl. It's like, yeah, I figured there are people trying to kill me. Who sent you? And they're like, Sarah, Chairman Sarah did it. Which immediately did not make sense to Kiryu, because, like, why would he get expelled from the Yakuza, but then also try to get assassinated by the same person who expelled him? So there's always some red flags. And then for 10 years... nothing happens. You're just in prison. Kiryu lives out his time in prison as a model prisoner. Nobody fucks with him after that initial fight.
Model prisoner.
Yeah, model prisoner. So he gets out in 10 years for murder.
And he shaved his head, which was interesting to see him with the slick cut. I was just like, oh, he doesn't have his hair. He doesn't look like Elvis.
Yeah, and so now that's chapter 1, is the murder to 10 years in prison.
And then after that, basically, is when you just get out and you're, hold on, this thing I'm looking at is like not working properly. Like, you go around, and you have to, one of the first things you have to do is find the information guy, right? Who's standing in the middle of that plaza.
Well, before that, right before you get out of prison, you get a letter from Kazuma, who is basically your adopted father. And he sends you a letter saying you need to go to Club Stardust. There's people there you need to meet. So before you can even get headed there, as soon as you get out of your car to get back into the streets of Kamurocho, you're encountered by Majima, who's just like, Kiryu-chan, you just got out of prison. You have to fight me now. He's like, you're 10 years of Meiji Soft, so we need to fight to get you back into fighting shape if you're going to be out here in the streets of Kamurocho.
I lost 2 fights the entire time I was playing this game. I got beat twice. This was one of them.
I think this was a scripted loss.
I think you're supposed... Yeah. The other one was an actual loss, but this... It was also demonstrable.
Because you've lost all your stats. Like, everything you've learned in Yakuza 0, you've spent 10 years wailing away in prison, so you've lost all your stats. You're not as powerful, strong, or tough as you once were. And so you lose this fight to Majima. You got beat up hard. Like, he screws you up.
I did this fight twice, right? I beat it, and then I loaded it, and... not beat it, I'm sorry. I got beat, and then I loaded it and used a trainer and give myself infinite HP and then beat Majima to see if the ending was any different. It's not. You would sit there and wail on him and wail on him and wail on him.
Loss.
And then at the end, Kiryu's still standing there like, holding his arm like everybody and sighing up and down his like, fuck. And Majima's like, yeah, you're rusty. Oh, okay. So, like, I don't think that there is I don't know if it's a situation where, like, they just didn't expect anybody to actually beat him, so they didn't script it any differently. Because I think he's just supposed to beat the shit out of you. And that is absolutely supposed to be what happened. But.
Sheesh, that's super... Like, I mean, you're really not supposed to be able to beat him, though. He really does absolutely put the fucking boots to your ass. Like, it is definitely meant to be like, you are lost.
Yeah, and then, like, not long after that is when you start, like, running north to go where you're trying to go, and you run into Street Thug Abe. It's just this dude standing in the street, and he's like, hey, I don't like the way you look. What are you doing here? And you're like, I don't have to tell you anything. Kiryu's very much like, I'm Batman. Fuck off. And Abe doesn't like that, so you then have to put the fucking beating on him, which is not hard at all. And then he tells you where to find the information broker, and that's when you make your way to the plaza, and that's when you find the information guy, and he tells you what happens to Tamura as well as gives you information. But from there, I think that's when you head to Stardust, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, you get to Stardust, and you go to Stardust right after that, and you have to get encountered by this, like, young-looking guy who's like, no, we're not letting another Yakuza thug in our club, blah, blah, blah. So you have to fight this guy. Was
it just me, or did this NPC look a little strange?
He looked really young to me. He looked like he was probably just, like, fresh out of college, 23-year-old dude.
Very, like,
he didn't look that weird. Like, he had a distinctive look. Like, you could pick Yuya out of a lineup any day for sure.
Yeah, I didn't mean that he was ugly or anything. I'm just saying, like, as opposed to, like, just all the other people you see in the game, he had a very prominently distinctive face. Like, a bigger jaw. He almost reminded me of Shimano in a way. Like, that style of, like, facial structure.
He's not as ugly as Shimano. Shimano was just a nasty-headed boy.
Yeah.
Oh, I just meant facial structure wise. But yeah, no, like, he ends up being cool. But yeah, you have to beat him up here.
Yes, you fight Yuya, and then once you do, you finally beat him. The club owner comes out. His name's Kazuki, and he was just like, "Bro, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Who is this guy?" He's like, "I'm Kiryu." He's like, oh, Kiryu, come right in.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, because he got the message from, I guess it was
Kazuma
that Kiryu was coming. Well, Kazuki reveals all the information to Kiryu of what's been going on since he's been in jail. Long story short, Chairman Sarah has been assassinated, essentially, and Nishiki is responsible for it. So the next thing you end up having to do is head to the funeral to meet up with Kazuma.
Yeah. And I believe, don't they also reveal that the 10 million's missing and that's why he got killed?
Yeah.
10 billion, excuse me.
10 billion yen, yeah.
Woo! Is that $100 million?
which is approximately $100 million.
It's a lot of money.
Not chump change. Not
Not at all.
change. So yeah, so then chapter 3 starts on a flashback. So you go back in time and see a younger Nishiki again. And this is after Kiryu's gone to prison, and you find out that Nishiki's getting his own family. So he's going to be the patriarch of the Nishikiyama clan, which was going to be a subsidiary of the Kazuma family, which is a subsidiary of the Dojo clan.
Clans on clans on clans.
And so this would have been where you would have been if it weren't for the fact that you were in jail because you killed Dojo. Right?
Yeah, this was originally planned for you. So instead, they gave this to Nishikiyama and said, make sure you have a place for Kiryu when Kiryu gets out of prison, basically. So Kiryu, once he gets out, he's going to be was supposed to be under Nishiki.
And then, like, as the game goes on, and this is kind of skipping ahead a little bit, but I just got to get this out while I'm thinking about it. Nishiki turns out to be such a shithead. But, like, all these flashbacks show people being so fucking mean to him that it's like they wonder why he turned out that way. And what's amazing is the fact that none of that's in the original game. So he's just a fucking shithead in the original game. And that's wild to me. Just wild to me.
Yeah. So next chapter is not... It's pretty eventful, but I don't have to say it in a lot of words. You go to the funeral and you finally meet up with Kazuma. And so Kazuma begins telling you what's going on. But he's quickly shot down by a sniper. Like, you start getting some information and boom! All of a sudden, Kazuma's got a bullet through his chest, and Kiryu's like, what the fuck?
And then Shimano and his boys run in, and they're acting like you did it, basically.
Yeah. Right after you get out of prison, they're blaming you for basically an attempted assassination.
You killed another patriarch!
Yeah, of Kazuma.
And there's a split second where it shows the sniper like pulling their gun back and moving away, and you can, for a fucking split second, you can see slicked back black hair.
Yeah.
And you're just like, that motherfucker.
Yeah. And so the rest of this chapter is basically a really, really big fun fight that reminded me of that scene in the building from Yakuza 0 where you're fighting through the Tojo clan funeral. So it's like, it's a big fun fight sequence where, like, every time you get past like a checkpoint, Kiryu throws a big ass punch and knocks a dude through a wall, and you continue on through there. It's really cool, fun stuff. Like, this is part of the games that I've really loved, and that put me right in the mood real quick right there. And then once you get through the big, fun, amazing fight, you get thrown into what I think was the worst boss fight in the game.
I want to point out that Nathan literally wrote in his notes, this is the worst fight in the game, and I don't disagree. This sucked. This was so bad.
Like, Shimano?
Yeah, you had so much momentum and so much fun going into this fight, but then, like, once you're about to get out of the funeral, Shimano shows up. And Shimano is this big old dude. Like, he is huge, scary. He's got, like, not quite sumo wrestler build, because he's not that big, but he's, like, you can tell this dude's strong as hell and he eats a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't remember having too much trouble with him. I just remember him taking a long time.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It wasn't that hard. Exactly it just took literally 10 minutes to get through this fight because you had to basically peck at him, and then he had like super armor basically. So like you had to punch him a few times, back away. Punch him a few times, back away. And it just took so damn long. It wasn't technically interesting. It was just slow and painful. And I don't know if this was to point out just the fact that Kiryu has gotten so much weaker while he was in prison or whatever. Because you do fight Shimano later in the game, and it does not feel this bad.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if that was an intentional choice by the designers of the game, but if it was a bad one, because this was just the least fun part of the game for me, was that fight in chapter 3 of 13.
He has 3 combos that he does over and over again. They're really, really easy to read. And then you just hit him a bunch of times, and it does like 1,000th of his health bar, and he has 3 health bars.
Yeah.
And all the bosses in this game have this thing where they like crouch down and they start glowing and they heal health. So you have to keep wailing on during that.
At that point, you don't have the Kiwami move to probably do the correct response at that point. So that like makes it, it sucks.
Yeah, so you don't have
like,
the tool to deal with it.
I do enjoy the Kiwami move, but he gets free health back, and it sucks, and it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
That said, after this, the game gets better.
Yeah. So that's the end of chapter 3. You beat Shimano finally, and you walk out of the funeral. And then you go to chapter 4, where you get another flashback. But this one basically comes down to is just Nishiki having so much trouble with his men. Like, they don't respect him. There's like, yeah, they put us under you because you don't know shit, and we do know how to be Yakuza. So you just shut up and let us do the work. Basically kind of thing.
Yeah, they bitch him up hard in that first meeting.
Yeah, like they have no respect for Nishiki, essentially, is what that whole comes down to.
He's titled as a patriarch, and yet they basically, none of them care about him whatsoever. They're just like, fuck you. We were Kazama's boys, now we're dealing with you, and we don't really respect you whatsoever.
Yeah.
You're a little up-jumped prick.
Yeah. So then, after that flashback, it flashes back to Kiryu, who's just walked out of the funeral, and a car pulls up while there's a bunch of Yakuza trying to chase after him, and you just, like, jump in the car, and it's Date, who is that private, like, that investigator from the beginning of the game who was, like, sure that it wasn't you who did it. And so Date's like, look, I know you didn't do the murder back in the day, but I don't care anymore. I'm looking into who murdered Sarah, and I need your help. The other chairman that got murdered before, blah, blah, blah. So you decide to team up with Date, and what you really want to do is start to find Yumi again.
Yep.
Because, like, Yumi disappeared after all this happened, and no one knows what happened to Yumi.
Yeah, she, like, well, I don't know. At this point, you don't know, so.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
So you decide to go to the bar Serena again, the one from back in the day that you and Nishiki always went to, and meet up with Reina there, who's still tending bar. Good girl, right?
Always.
And she,
Oh, I said always.
Yeah. She brings up someone named Mizuki, who is apparently Yumi's sister, who opened a bar named Ares or Adam. Ares in Millennium Tower. So she's like, that's all we know is there's a bar in the Ares that Mizuki runs. There's a bartender in a bar called Bacchus who has info. So you decide to leave to go to this bar called Bacchus to get the information. And once you get in there, it's a grisly and grim scene. Like, everyone in there has just recently been shot to death, murdered.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what the hell happened here? Everyone in there is dead, except for you run into this little girl whose name is Haruka. And she's looking for her mom. And you find out that she was in Bacchus because she also heard that... Because she was looking for... You find out she's also looking for Mizuki.
Mizuki, which is her mother.
Right.
And also, when you find that little girl, she's just like sitting under the bar holding a pistol, looking scared for her life. It's awful.
Yeah. It is a heart-wrenching scene for sure.
Quickly, I do want a little levity. This is the first chapter where you start randomly finding Majima in costumes and stuff. So, like, this is where you run into him as police officer Majima.
Yeah, so that's one of the first encounters you see is with Majima outside of the original one, is Majima standing out front of Millennium Tower, and he's dressed up like a police officer, and he's like, Kiryu, come here, we gotta check you to make sure you're not carrying any weapons. You can't be a threat to society now, can you? And so every time you see Majima from here on out in a cop uniform, he comes up and frisks you to make sure you're not carrying any weapons. And if you are carrying weapons, it's a fight with Majima you get.
It's a fight him.
So carry weapons, because fighting Majima was actually pretty fun.
And beneficial. And because you always gain a Dragon of Dojima skill, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely... Because, like, there is what we were mentioning earlier, there was a mechanic added to this game called Majima Everywhere. And what Majima Everywhere mechanic does, it helps you level up your 4th fighting ability. We haven't talked about abilities at all. All right. I'm going to finish chapter 4, then we're going to take a break from story and talk a little bit about gameplay. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, like I said, everyone there was murdered except for this little girl who was looking for her mom. She was Mizuki, the same person you're looking for. So when you're leaving that bar, you see these street punks bullying a puppy. So Kiryu kicks their asses.
God.
Yeah, they're like throwing rocks at this puppy. And so Kiryu just walks up, catches one of the rocks they're throwing at him, and whips it right back into dude's face.
I just want to say, this was the moment where I was on Discord with Megan, and I told her that happened, and she was like, share your screen. So, like, I shared it so she could see the puppy, and she was like, they're throwing rocks at him, oh my God! So from then on, she was like watching me play Yakuza. She like quit out of her game, and she was like watching Yakuza, like, we got to save this puppy. And then it was like, oh, you have to save this little girl. And it was adorable.
Yeah, so like, you immediately just destroy these punks that were bullying a puppy, and then Haruka's like, we have to help the dog, so you have to go on a series of fetch quests to basically get this puppy water, get this puppy food, like all this stuff for the puppy.
Get this puppy a bowl to put the water in.
Yeah, that's kind of funny stuff. So you save the dog, and then you then go back to the bar Serena. And then once you get there, you decide, okay, we've got to go find Ares. I think that's where you go next, right? And then once you get there, the Omi Alliance members are there, who's another clan, and you end up having to fight them because they want to take Haruka.
No.
Yeah, so the Omi Alliance is a rival to the Tojo clan. They're not in the same organizations we are, but they're a different Yakuza family. Like, they don't even have the same top-down organization. They are completely different.
Yeah.
Curious, either of you, how did you react when the cop stopped you and the girl on the way to Eris?
Oh my gosh. That was funny.
I straight just went like, nope. I was every question he asked me, I was just like, nah. Are you his dad? No.
Yep.
Are you?
We don't talk to cops.
I just kept I kept giving him nothing until fucking the girl Haruka eventually was like, hey, why are you hassling my dad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Haruka is a little bit feistier than she puts on. And like, she has some good moments. She's a cool girl.
She is a cool little girl.
She's 9 years old and she could probably whip my ass.
All right. So like I said, you fight the Omi Alliance there because they wanted to kidnap Haruka, and you have no idea why at that point. But, so, gameplay stuff. So we talked a lot about the story so far, but I think it'd be a good idea to talk about gameplay. One thing that really stood out to me in this game as opposed to Yakuza 0. In Yakuza 0, you had to spend money that you had earned through fighting or other means to put it back into your stats. This game, it gave you a separate bar that leveled up as you beat enemies, and then you could put those levels into your different stats, which I thought was a pretty interesting way to do it. You had 4 different things you could put it into. I think it was, one was skill, body, and power, maybe? No, skill.
Soul.
Skill,
what?
body, soul.
Soul, thank you. And then the 4th one, which is dragon style, which you get from more doing those Majima Everywhere things we mentioned a little bit earlier. So, I don't know, how did you guys feel about this? I thought it was an improvement. Like, I liked this way better than having to shove money into it.
You know me, I'm an RPG player. I'm a sucker for an experience system. So, when I realized I could grind...
At first...
Oh, sorry, Willie.
No, God. At first I had mixed feelings about it, but then I, started buying levels, and I'm like, oh, cool. I could just get more hit points. That's neat. But, like, I don't know. I felt like it made more sense than just spending money. Like, it felt like I was leveling up rather than spending money.
Yeah. That's essentially what it was, for sure. And I think it made, like, a lot of sense, too, because, like, you're trying to get your skill back that you had before you went to prison. So, like, fighting it out and getting experience from those fights and then being able to put that back into yourself. I think that made a lot of sense. Although you did also get experience from completing side quests and things.
But I did feel like we were shaking the rust off of Kiryu after 10 years of the whole.
Oh, yeah.
So that did make a lot of sense, actually.
Absolutely. So, speaking of side quests, did you guys have any that really stood out to you this one? Because I know we had a lot that stood out in 0. I thought the side quests were a little bit better than 0. I really did. But there were still some good ones. Did you guys have any that really jumped out to you?
Well, let me go ahead and get myself out of the way. I have nothing to add to this. So I played just through the story. And when I finished the game, I finished it with a 17% completion rate. And that's with the whole story. So I didn't even see 20% of this game. So I don't have any comment on the side quest, unfortunately. So I am very excited to hear what you guys have to say about it.
Yeah.
I will say that I felt like, especially really early on in the game, it just felt like every side quest was, this person is trying to scam you, and then you prove that they're a scammer, and it's bad. Like, I kind of got a little tired of that early on, but it did eventually come back around.
Yeah.
Like, I really enjoyed taking the judoka around.
I was going to bring that one up as my favorite.
Yeah. Go hard. So you tell them about it.
So you end up breaking up this fight between this, like, you think what's happening is this man is sexually harassing this woman, so Kiryu goes and beats him up, and then the woman's like, why did you hit him? Why did you do this as my boyfriend? And then this big dude with this, and they call him the big-headed man, comes up, and he beats the crap out of the guy, too, because, like, we gotta protect this woman from him. And then you end up fighting. Oh my god, that's so confusing and hilarious. And this cop shows up, and he's like, who's going to jail for this?
Yeah. Then everybody basically just talks about, no, it's a big misunderstanding. We're all sorry.
Yeah, then the big-headed man's like, yeah, I'm in here from out of town. I just wanted to see what Kamurocho had to offer. Do you think you could take me around and show me around town? So eventually he's like, let's go eat. So you go end up taking him to the fanciest Japanese steakhouse in town. He's like, I want 2 whole cows, please.
Oh, maybe I didn't take him there. The one I ran into, when the waiter came over and they were like, what would you like, sir? He goes, I'll have one of everything. And the waiter's like, what? Oh, I mean, yes, sir, of course.
It's funny.
It's great.
And then you take him to a cabaret club where you just order wine and drink with him and the host girl. It's a fun time. He's like, man, I do enjoy this, but this isn't really what I'm looking for. Like, I'm a fighter. I'm a competitor. I want something a little bit more underground that not everybody knows about. And she's like, Kiryu's like, ooh, I think I have a place for you because you do know of this underground fighting arena. So you end up taking him there. He's like, Kiryu, fight me. It's what I really want. I saw how you can really throw a punch out there, and you had to fight him. And he gets so happy when you kick his ass.
Oh, man. See, I never got to finish. I did start that quest, and I took him to the restaurant and the cabaret, and I fucking forgot to go back to the place in the purgatory because I was just trying to get through the story, but I would have liked to have seen that because I did enjoy the first parts of that quest a good amount. And now I do want to say, when I first got that quest, I thought that was part of the main story. So as soon as we got done talking, I ran to the pink spot and more stories started happening. And I was like, oh, damn it, no. And I thought I missed my opportunity to help that guy. And then later on, I randomly ran into a restaurant to have Kiryu eat. And a cutscene started with him. And I was like, oh, good. Oh, good.
Yeah, I like that sub-story a lot. And, like, I think, Willie, you mentioned that it turns out that guy, that big-headed man, was based off of a real-life judo fighter.
Yeah, it's an actual judoka that I think has the actual name that they gave him in the show. Even, like, they didn't even make a fake name for him or whatever. He's just literally modeled an actual judo guy.
That's awesome.
Is it...
Did you have any other sub-quests you really liked, Willie?
I mean, this one was kind of like more of an emotional one or whatever, but I really did like the one where you like find a little kid and then you like get Haruka to like hang out with him for a minute, and then he's like sick and you take him to a doctor's office.
Yeah.
And like it turns out he had like an appendicitis that was about to burst.
Oh. What?
Because, like, the people there were just, like, the other guys were like, oh, how dare you operate on this kid before us, you know, and it just turned out, no, like, that dude's fine. This kid needs to be operated on immediately.
Yeah. Cool.
I also really like the one where you just ran around the city looking for 2,000 yen bills.
Oh, yeah.
Like, to bring back to the guy from the Vincent.
I didn't finish that one. I got 2 of them and then got sidetracked.
I did find all of them, and there's not like a surprising ending of it or anything. It's just like a fun way to travel around and look for things.
Yeah.
But like, I thought it was a cool idea because, I don't know, it just seemed like a fun like time capsule of that exact period in Japan at that moment.
Cool. Well, I guess we can do a little... Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, because it was funny, like, people, like, in the game were, like, they acted like that 20,000 yen bill was, like, or 20,000, a 2,000 yen bill was, like, it was like a $2, they basically treated it the same way as a $2 bill, you know? They, like, treated it as, like, maybe this is counterfeit, this is a real weird piece of shit, what is this thing?
Yeah. Because I think they, like, the way they brought it up in the story was, like, that was the 2,000 yen bill that they brought up for the year 2000. So Kiryu didn't even know it existed because that was when he was in prison.
That's right.
This?
Yeah, that's true.
That's rad. I didn't get it. That's rad. This game though. That
no,
made
me neither. I was sad about that too.
Sadly.
No, that's rad. Holy shit.
Holy shit.
I guess we can get back into a little bit of story talk. So, caveat here, I only did summaries for the first 5 chapters of the game, so I might let one of the other boys try to summarize the rest of the plot, because I didn't get to write this down, but...
The plot only gets more complicated after where you summarized it too, is the thing.
Well, I'm not going to be the one that does all the work all the time, so...
I'll try.
Damn.
I have
the next chapter.
It gets all twisty.
Huh?
It gets all twisty.
It does. So the next chapter starts on another flashback where you find out that Nishiki's sister needs a heart transplant. Another thing is my nose is really stuffy, so I'm having trouble talking.
You're doing a fantastic job summarizing considering that.
So Nishiki begs the doctor, basically, is there anything we can do? We need to get her on the list right away. And he brings up that he can pay for an organ broker to get him a heart as soon as possible. And basically an organ broker, somebody that finds organs for people on the list. And
yeah, that's right. So he ends up finding the shittiest guy in his organization's like, dude, I know you suck ass, but do whatever you can to get me that money.
The way that happens, he finds out it's like 30 million yen. And he goes to the guy and he's like, begs him. He's like on his hands and knees, like just begging him to please get the money in any way possible. And the guy's like, any way possible, right? And he's like, yes, any way possible. I just need the money. He's like, it's good to see you know your place now, boss. And he kind of like steps on his head because like he's on the hands and knees thing. And it's just like another scene of Nishiki getting humiliated. Just another one.
It just constantly gets disrespected. It sucks so bad to be Nishikiyama.
Yeah. So next thing, then that flashback ends, and Kiryu's back at Serena. You find out you need to meet a man named the Florist of Sai in Purgatory, because he's basically the biggest source of information in all Kamurocho. He has like this underground setup where he sees everything going on in the town. So you get there and you meet him, and he requires you to do a fight in the Coliseum for money to pay for the information. Basically wants to see Kiryu in action, so you have to win 3 fights in the Coliseum, and then he agrees to give you the information.
And I had a blast with the Coliseum fights. They were fun.
Yeah, it was really similar to that scene in Yakuza 0, and I didn't mind that one bit.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The only part that kind of like I played it a little bit, and I got it to a point where there was one where it was like weapons only duel, which was easy to do as Majima in 0, but God, Kiryu sucks with weapons.
Yeah, yes he does.
Yeah.
But you get the info that whoever recovers that 10 billion yen that we were talking about earlier is going to be the next chairman of the clan. And so, obviously, Nishiki thinks it's going to be him. So you get a phone call while you're there that says Kiryu has a visitor here, which is weird. And you see that Date is basically being jumped by these thugs.
Getting his
like through the
ass
camp.
beat.
Yeah. So Kiryu has to run up there and save him. And you find out Haruka got kidnapped, where she's being held at the batting cages, which is another mini game in the game you can do, is play batting cages. You find out the Majima family has her, and you must fight to save her. So you get to do this fight with Majima and his family at the batting cages, which is just the most appropriate place for Majima.
Dude, that scene where he's coming in and he's talking mad shit to Kiryu, and that baseball comes out and hits him in the head.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yes.
And he starts laughing, and everyone starts laughing except that one guy, and he turns around and just beats that fucker to death with his baseball bat. Like,
that moment was so fucking the Joker, you know?
Yeah, it really was.
He's like, why aren't you laughing? Boom!
And I almost wonder if maybe that's one of the reasons that in the original Yakuza game that came out over here, Mark Hamill was the voice of Majima.
Hamill.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I think this was the only game that had English voice acting ever, and Mark Hamill was Majima, which that says a lot to me about how good this game really is. To get Mark Hamill to do a voice, good God.
Oh yeah, dude, he's fucking legend.
But you end up beating them and saving Haruka, and you find out about Haruka's pendant, which is basically this pendant that Yumi had given her, because Yumi, turns out, is her aunt that comes and visits her at Sunflower, the orphanage, sometimes. Because we didn't mention that either. Haruka lives at Sunflower now, the orphanage where Kiryu grew up.
Which is the same orphanage that Kiryu and Nishigami both grew up in, that was founded by Kazama.
Yes, which there's a revelation about that later in the story that I was just like, well, damn!
Yeah.
Oh shit, yeah.
But that is all the notes that I have for the story now.
After you beat Majima, you end up back at Serena, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then when you leave, one of the little homeless guys that works for the florist tells you that you need to go there. So when you go there, he tells you that he's got nothing for you. But when he's looking on the screen, it's like a camera zoomed in on a kid and his girlfriend. And it turns out that is the florist's son, or he has nothing to do with his family or whatever. But like his son's in trouble. The girl he's with, there's some shit going on with her. So you have to go and talk to them. And you end up having to fight. His name's Takashi. And my brain...
It turns out he's tied into a really minor league Yakuza family that the entire time I was doing that plot, I'm like, these guys sound like they suck shit. I could beat all of their asses. What are we doing here?
It made me think of Tekashi 6ix9ine and like his affiliation with the gang or whatever. I was just like, this dude, I'm glad he doesn't have 6ix9ines tattooed all over him. But yeah, you beat him up. Then the gang shows up. You got to fight them. And they kind of direct you to, is it the club that you go after that? Yeah, I believe so.
Debola.
And you got to go in there and you got to deal with some of basically like these loan shark type people. I believe that's right. Yeah, because then you end up having to go talk to the girl herself. And that's when you find out that the girl is like selling herself to make money. Oh, no, excuse me.
I think you're mixing plots together there.
I'm sorry.
I skipped a bit ahead too.
I am. I'm sorry. So you handle the Takashi situation. You end up finding out that he's a good kid. And he's in love with a girl who is actually the daughter of a prominent Yakuza member. And they end up agreeing that like they don't like each other, the florist and the Yakuza guy, but like their kids love one another, so they're gonna work it out. But you do have to end up beating up that gang and basically telling them to fuck off and leave them alone. And then that's when Date, where you have to deal with his daughter, correct? So you end up having to deal with Date. So you end up fighting his daughter, and she's like, you can have one of us or both of us with her and her friend. And it turns out that they're selling themselves to make money. And you're like, you end up having to chase down after her and get information about, you're looking for Shotaro, who is this guy that she's apparently in love with. So you go to Stardust after you go to this one, if you go to the first bar and the guy asks you, if you can pick the most expensive drink that we have and buy a glass of it, I'll tell you where Shotaro is. So you have to figure out which one's the most expensive drink, and then you buy it, you drink it, and he tells you where Shotaro is, and which is what he says is that he moved to the Stardust Club about 3 months ago. So you go over to Stardust,
right,
and like you go into this cutscene, and I think the belief is when you end up having to fight a big group of the people again that are like, you're mucking around and shit that you shouldn't be messing with, and then you end up tracking down Shotaro, and he's actually part of a big money scheme thing where they're like ripping off like loan shark type thing, and you end up having to fight them again, and you fucking kick his ass. This is like one of the first times in the game I believe you can start using Kiwamis, at least if you've been upgrading, and you can beat his ass with that. And that's basically the general basis of chapter 6 is saving the florist's son and then saving the daughter. And then I'm trying to remember what happens next. Oh, this is when you go into this is where they find the dead girl with the tattoo on her.
Oh. Yeah.
And you take the tattoo to Kiryu's tattoo artist because he's like, I recognize that tattoo. I know it anywhere. So he goes and asks the tattoo artist. Tattoo artist is like, no, I remember every tattoo I've ever done, and I do not remember that one. So then you kind of have to I think you have to follow the trail to go find Haruko. Does she run away from you? Or Haruka, excuse me. And she runs away, and you have to like ask people. And she go into the second place and be like, "Where'd she go?" And then you go to the other place, and you kind of follow her around. You eventually, is it when you come on to her in a park, and she gets nabbed, and then
oh yeah, and then she gets kidnapped by like 3 different like color coded gangs or whatever. There's the white, red, and blue gang.
Yeah, and you have to fight through all them, and then eventually you do find out where Haruka is, and you go back to Stardust, right?
yeah. Yeah, and that's when you're introduced to the MIA, which is like the Men in Black.
Yeah.
And they come out.
They totally are the Men in Black, actually.
This scene was the first one that I was like, oh shit, because this is the first like cutscene where people are trying to kill this little girl.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh god damn, is this game gonna go there? But yeah, you end up, that doesn't happen. You know, of course, Kiryu and Date don't let that happen, and then you get into a big brawl with all these motherfuckers. And might I recommend to anybody listening, if you decide to play these games, focus on the dudes with guns first.
Yeah, for sure.
Get them as quick as possible.
But Haruka did grazed a bullet in the arm, though.
That's right.
That's right. She does get
it's
shot.
later that. Yeah, okay. She does get grazed, correct. Which just infuriated me.
Yeah.
Because at this point, I would die for that little girl. She's so sweet.
Yeah. So then you get back to Serena after that with Haruka again, and that's when Kiryu finally decides to tell Haruka that Mizuki's dead, her mom, that they found out that she's dead. But then they're like, we can't stay here. Too many people know where they are. So they head to West Park, where the florist is, and they let them have a place to stay in West Park to kind of keep out of the way of the police and the Yakuza, because they don't go there, because it's kind of a dangerous place.
Yeah, and then I believe it was Haruka was like, "Can we go do something?" So you guys end up going. You end up in a gambling hall, and they're like, "No kids allowed." And he's like, "It'll be all right. I'm Batman."
Yeah,
and they're like, "Oh, okay. Oh no, I'm sorry." The guy's like, "No, or no. That's later on when you go into the cat house when he fucking punches a statue and just shatters it and like,
yeah, that part's later. But this one, you do just get into a fight with this dealer of this game, because you find out that he's rigging the die. Like, it has some weird mechanic in there that rolls it to whatever number he wants to. So you have to beat the crap out of everybody in the gambling hall, which is a pretty funny and fun scene. Like a moment of levity you need when this game's gotten so dark at some points.
Yeah. I would have wished that you could have thrown more people through rice walls. Because those are absolutely rice paper walls, and that would have been fantastic. Then you go drop Haruka off at Purgatory and go back to Serena, which is where you meet up with Nishiki.
You finally have your face-to-face confrontation. And he tells you everything. Just kidding, he doesn't tell you that much. He tells you a few things. He doesn't tell you everything. God! It's chapter 8 out of 13 now, and he doesn't really spill all the beans.
Yeah, I mean, he basically tells you that he didn't mean to kill Mizuki. Yeah, it was an accident. Oops. And that he was the person that shot Kazuma. And then she's like, I really wish we could have worked together, but this isn't working out how he planned. So he enacts his secondary plan, which he has a group of Nishiyama family members come and challenge Kiryu to a fight. And as Kiryu's going down the back window, he's met with even more people to fight.
God, that fight was so fun.
It reminded me a lot of a scene from Zero. Like, you had to fight out of Serena in Zero also. And, like, I was just like, well, you know what? I've done it before. I'll do it again.
Yeah.
Eat my ass, dorks.
Yeah, so it's just another big brawl. And then that takes you to chapter 8, right? Yeah,
and chapter 8 is where you go to Purgatory, and Haruka is missing, and you have to find each of the 3 gangs that attack Purgatory. Because this is where, like, Purgatory, like, it gets blown. Like, when Kiryu shows back up in Purgatory, it's on fire. And he's like, oh my god, and he runs in there, and Haruka is missing. So...
Yeah, but this is an important flashback scene happens at the beginning of chapter 8, though.
Oh, what was that?
No,
I was just going to say, my little guide thing I'm using to help me through this does not have that, so please, by all means.
Yeah. So most of the chapters do begin with a flashback. So this one begins with Nishiki sitting at his desk with that thug that he had been using to help him collect all the debt.
That's right.
So this is the point where he finds out where this thug got the most recent huge haul, which was enough money to finally cover the bills for his sister. And he's like, oh yeah, I took all this from some doctor who worked out at this hospital. He's like, what doctor? And Nishiki just runs out of the building to the hospital and finds that doctor he promised to do the surgery that he was going to pay for, the organ broker, was the doctor that got scammed. He just decided to get the hell out of town. So now Nishiki has nobody to do the surgery for him. His sister's pretty much donezo at this point.
Oh, see, I didn't take it like that when I saw it. I took it like Nishiki had slowly been making payments or whatever, and then once that doctor got that 30 mil, he paid off his debts and then skipped town. That's what I thought. But I think what you're saying is more correct, is that Homeboy went and took that money and Homeboy was scared and then left, and that's...
Yeah.
Oh, fucking A. That's even worse.
So, like, this whole plan that Nishiki had to pay for his sister's surgery, using this guy that he absolutely loathed because he was the guy that could get the money, get it taken care of, found out that this is how he got screwed over in the end. And really sucks. And that's where that flashback ends. Then it goes to the Kiryu stuff, where we were talking about poor little Haruka got kidnapped again.
Again.
She gets kidnapped quite a lot in this game. She's like the Princess Peach of this shit, except she's like 9 years old.
Yeah, and we don't need to get really into depth of the color gangs. Like, the gangs were the ones that blew up, and they were the ones that you found out ran off with Haruka, and you had to fight through the 3 color gangs, like Willie had mentioned earlier.
I will mention that I did have to look this up because I could not, for the life of me, find where I needed to go to find, like, the specific people you were looking for.
Did you try talking to people ever? Because they made it... I felt like when you were in the general area of them, you would see that color of gang, and like all the people there would wear the color and be like, here's the bloody eyes, or here's the blue Z's.
I can find like where the gangs were at, but like when they needed you to go to specific areas to like talk to people,
you couldn't
I would
find
always
the actual headquarters.
Like, damn it, where am I supposed to go? But I did find it eventually. Just looking at maps.
To be fair, I thought they were all going to be in public parks too, so I was like confused when they weren't.
But once you kick all the gang's asses, you get the call from Date, and I believe from there you guys end up going to is it Yokohama?
Yeah, because you find out that she was basically taken by the Snake Flower Triad, which is like Chinese mafia, and you have to go. So you get this really graphic and hard to watch flashback at this point too, because Kiryu does not like the Snake Flower Triad, because this guy named Lao Ka Long basically captured and tortured Kiryu, and the only reason he wasn't murdered was because Kazuma burst in and saved his life by shooting everybody in the room at that point, basically. Like, it was a very graphic scene, like Kazuma basically getting crucified.
And that's why Kazuma has the limp at this point, because Kazuma actually was shot in the leg during that break-in.
Yeah. And also, it showed off a slight bit of the skills that were hinted at earlier in the game during one of the flashbacks, where somebody in front of Kiryu and Nishiki, I think, were mentioning that Kazuma was one of the best assassins the Yakuza ever had. And he was quick to be like, hey, shut up. Like, don't talk about that. And then in that scene, when he comes in, he fucking like Tomb Raider leaps over that desk and pow, and kills those dudes while he's in midair. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, there's that assassin skill.
He's pro as fuck.
So you found out you actually have to leave Kamurocho to go to Yokohama in pursuit of her. And it shows a scene that Shimano had been working with the Snake Flower Triad, and they were discussing various ways to split the 10 billion yen.
Now, this is one of the points in the game that I put on that song Rain. When you were fighting through this big Chinese place, and you're just like getting wave after wave of enemies, and you'd beat them, and then you go up the stairs and then beat them, and then go through the kitchen and have to fight the chefs. Yeah. And all of that. Like, it was just, I liked it. I liked it a lot. It reminded me of those fights in Zero where you had to run through all the hallways and stuff. Yeah,
because like that's basically Chapter 9. It's just this big rescuing of Haruka from the Snake Flower Triad. It's just a big old fight scene where you basically show up at this Chinese restaurant and you ask for Lao Ka Long, and they're like, nobody here by that name. And they pull out these machine guns, and Kiryu notices and grabs like the greeter at the door, pulls him in front of him, and just like uses him as a meat shield for the machine guns.
That dude fucking dead.
Yeah, Kiryu doesn't kill anybody.
Yeah,
That's the deadest dude that Kiryu has ever touched.
And then I believe the cutscene at the beginning of chapter 10, is that the one where Nishiki finally loses his shit on Homeboy?
Yeah, so like it begins like Nishiki's sitting alone. He's like contemplating, like it looks like he's contemplating seppuku or whatever. He has like this knife and he's holding it to himself and all this stuff. And then that one thug comes in looking for him. And he just starts going off again. He's like, what? I got the money. Is that not good enough for you? And at this point, Nishiki is just like, nah, fuck this. He takes the knife that he had pointed at himself, turns it around, and just rams it into Homeboy's gut like 16 times.
Yeah, and just gets covered in blood. And this is the point where Nishiki takes Homeboy's blood and slicks his hair back with it. And I was just like, oh, God. So that's why he started wearing that style. Oh, what a shiver of a fucking... What a bad motherfucker.
Yeah. Pretty graphic. Pretty good. Like, so you see that change in Nishiki at this point where he's like, nah, I'm done doing anything for anybody else because nobody ever had my back except for Kiryu always did, but Kiryu's in jail. So. Yeah.
And there have been flashbacks that we've skipped over where people just like tell Nishiki how worthless he is, that are like higher ups, not just his underlings, like people that are like
Kashiwagi does it, Shimano does it, like so many people.
Yeah. Everyone's like, you're a dumb piece of shit, and I wish you were Kiryu. Kiryu's my real son.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then after those cutscenes, you're back in Serena, and there's like bloodstains everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And this is where you have to you follow the trails of blood. And I believe once you get to the area, like you're fighting through a big building with a bunch of people in it as usual. It's like the thing in this game. Like if there's a fetch quest in a Skyrim type game, in this game it's running through areas and beating the shit out of people. I believe like you make your all the way up to the roof, and you end up help me out.
First off, like you get like you find out that like so when you get back to Serena, you're like on the phone basically, and Shinji warns you that somebody's been leaking information, and so like the florist, so Shinji calls you and lets you know that, and basically finally the florist calls you too. Is like Reina's the one that's been leaking information to Nishikiyama, so at this point you find out that Reina has basically been telling Nishiki everything you've been doing since you've been having Haruka and Date come up. Like Nishiki knows everything because Reina's been telling him everything.
That bitch.
Yeah. So you get to the bar and you find that it's completely abandoned except for a note that says that Reina had left. Then Shinji calls Kiryu again and lets him know that Reina tried to make up for her mistakes and tried to shoot Nishiki. Then you realize the two of them are currently on the run together, and you're following that's when you follow the blood trail. Wait. Yeah, so you're following the trail of Shinji who's bleeding out at that point.
Yeah.
But that's what you're trying to do.
I just remember it ends up culminating in a fight with that dude that had the sweet ass jacket. It was like this really like reddish pink suit jacket. Here's his name. Kazuto Arase. But I can't remember why we were fighting him.
Because he basically was going to finish the job and kill Shinji at that point.
Okay, so yeah, he was from the Nishikiyama family then. Okay.
Yeah, I think he was listed as some weird title like Sergeant of the Nishikiyama family or something like that. Which I don't think I saw any other time in the game, but I think he was listed as Sergeant.
Tojo Clan Nishikiyama family Sergeant. Yeah. Sargento, he was a piece of cheese.
Yeah, so when you finally get to Shinji, that's when Arase arrives, and they like also show you that Reina has been killed at that point too, because Reina was no longer useful, and she tried to shoot Nishiki. She gets shot there. So then you fight Arase, which is maybe the third worst boss fight in the game, like third most annoying.
What was
this? Is the gun?
Did he just constantly? Oh, he was the gun. He was the two guns guy. Okay, no, that actually, that was maybe the second worst after Shimano, unless you got a third guy you're thinking.
I do have one I'm thinking of too, but like it was just a garbage fight. Like I eventually got to the point where I could just chase him down in rush mode and get to him, but like it wasn't a fun fight. It was just a pain in the butt and not enjoyable. But you finally do win that fight, and you get back to Shinji, and Shinji reveals that that Kazuma is with a woman named Akemi, and Akemi was basically his girlfriend, fiance, whatever you will. He gives you the ring that belonged to Yumi and then just dies on the roof, which is sad because he was a cool character. I really liked Shinji a lot in the game.
He seemed like it is a bad place to be loyal and have a good fucking heart, because Shinji he seemed like he was loyal and like a decent guy, and therefore he had to die. Yeah,
it was like Kiryu's Kiryu's closest confidants he still had that wasn't closer to his age, than like Kazuma, who was basically his father or one of the higher ups in the clan. It was just Kiryu's homeboy, basically, who joined the Nishikiyama clan after Kiryu went to jail to keep an eye on Nishiki and all this kind of stuff.
He clearly looked up to Kiryu a lot too, and I mean, that it was really hurtful to see bad things.
Yeah, because that was the implication early in the game. It was like him and Kiryu had gotten really close during those years between Zero and before Kiryu went to jail. So it was a real big punch in the gut for Shinji to go out like that.
Agreed.
But yeah, the next chapter you start off and you're at the florist house with the bodies of Shinji and Reina, and you got to figure out who this Akemi person is, because you don't know much beyond that. Shinji was like, you need to find Akemi because she knows where Kazuma is.
This is basically a fetch quest.
Yeah, this was entirely a fetch quest. Like, basically you needed to be able to get to a club called Shangri-La, because she's like, but you had to go through all this stuff to get a club card to get into Shangri-La. I was like, I have to do this, 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 to buy a card to Shangri-La.
Exactly.
And then Shangri-La is the place where you go in with Haruka, and they're like, sir, there's no kids in here. It'll be fine. It's a field trip. And the guy's like, no, it might make some of our customers uncomfortable. And Kiryu just turns and punches this fucking stone statue and just shatters it. And then turns around and is like, it'll be fine. And the guy's like, it'll be fine, sir. You're absolutely correct. You are 100% right. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Before this happens, though, like, you get a phone call from Majima, right? And Majima's...
Oh, that's right.
And Majima's like, okay, Kiryu, I know we talk a lot of goofy shit, but there's these guys tailing you. I need you, without any questions asked, just to get in this taxi cab right now with me. And Kiryu's like, whoa, Majima sounds serious for once in his life. I'd better go. So you get in this cab and go with him, and it takes you to the docks, basically. And this is the one time in the game where Kiryu and Majima fight as a team to fight off all these people who were basically pursuing Kiryu, which I think was Snake.
It was ex-Dojo members who were mad that you killed the dad.
Which was a weird thing to do. But anyway...
Even Majima was like, you guys have been waiting 10 years for this revenge? That sucks, butt balls. And yes, he used the word butt ball, which I thought was extremely funny. Yeah. I've never heard butt ball before in my life. I'm going to say it every day from now on.
But it was a great scene because Kiryu and Majima working together, because like those two have been beating the shit out of each other all game long. And finally, like, Majima's like, I got your back, Kiryu, let's go.
It was really fun. I
but then at the end of the fight, which I thought this was really weird of Kiryu, Majima gets shot from behind and falls into basically into the bay. Yeah. And Kiryu's like, no, let's go to Shangri-La now. Let's leave Majima in there. I was just like,
I got shit to do, whatever.
Like, what? He's like, I hope Majima's okay, but I can't spend any time looking for him. I'm like, really, Kiryu? This doesn't seem like you.
Kiryu's probably like,
yeah.
Now I don't have to like fight. There were times I would fight Majima and run 2 blocks, and then there he would be, and I'd fight him again. And I'm sure Kiryu was just like, you know what? If I can avoid that from now on, that'd be great.
But that's when you head to Shangri-La and you do the punch the statue apart thing.
This is the Shin-chan. This is the girl that you finally find. That's Shinji's girl. When you finally are talking to her, she refers to him as Shin-chan, which.
And both me and Dalton could not shake off our thinking about the anime Crayon Shin-chan, which, yeah.
Hilarious.
A show that had a hilarious gag dub into English. Very funny show.
Absolutely. And then once you leave there, you start running into waves of Majima's men, right? And like,
well, no, what happens here is like once you finally get in that conversation, like you find out that Kazuma has been moved to a place called Terada by a guy named Shibura. And she also mentions that Chairman Sarah had a will that he is looking after. All of a sudden...
This is the first time you hear about this will, by the way, and it's the most important plot point in the entire fucking game, really.
Chapter 11 of 13. That all of a sudden you hear this loud-ass crash coming from the lobby of the building. Right. And what you see happening in this cutscene is here comes Majima driving through the front door of the building.
With a fucking garbage truck or something of akin.
Yeah, and you're like... You get down there, and he's like all taped up from where he'd gotten shot 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, right?
Go.
And you get just a regular boss fight with Majima. But it was... God, I like Majima a lot, because he's like very chaotic. I don't know, like if you had to put a D&D, like chaotic neutral or whatever on him, I don't know.
He's definitely chaotic
neutral.
Because like he's like holds this woman at knife point. It's like, hey, why don't you be my wife? Why don't you be my girl? And she's like horrified because he's got this knife to her. Like if she says the wrong thing, is he gonna stab? He's like, no, I'm already in love with someone. And then Majima just like, oh, if you're just in love with someone, go ahead. Yeah, just let her go. Because Majima's like, I appreciate honesty. That's all I want from people is honesty. And then you fight Majima here, and this is one of those ridiculous like ongoing boss battles where you fight him for like the first half of his health bar, and then you punch him so hard the floor caves in, and you end up fighting in the basement.
You can actually pick up pieces of the floor rubble for the rest of the fight and use it as a weapon. It has infinite durability even.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And you get through that fight, and you finally go back to West Park because you get the information that you needed. And you put Shinji's body to rest. Like the florist gives Akemi his ashes, which is kind of a sweet symbol. Poor Shinji, I missed that guy already.
Right, and then that rolls into chapter 12, and then you start off in what is the name of the guy? And I should know his name for reasons that we'll get into later. I cannot remember his name. The guy that helped Kazuma.
Shibaru? Was that his name?
Shibaru? Oh my god, yeah, as soon as you said that, I thought that said Shibuya, but it's Shibaru. Yeah, I thought it was talking about the city that you guys might have gone to. Okay, yeah, Shibaru. Okay. Yeah, you're in the room with him, not Date, excuse me, Kazuma, and then the little girl. And this is when you're on the yacht, correct? And the yacht starts getting attacked.
Terada's yacht.
Yeah. And it starts being attacked by Shimano's goons. So, of course, they're like, Kiryu, don't get hurt. And he's like, don't worry about me. I'm Batman. And he kicks the door open and goes out there, and you got to start going through corridors and whipping ass. And then you end up in that big on the outside deck.
Yeah.
With a bunch of dudes. And I'm pretty sure this is the point where I saw a guy who was wielding what I would consider a fucking Gears of War weapon. Yes.
Okay. That guy stuck out really hard in my head.
Like, everybody's got, like, wakazashis or a pistol, and this motherfucker's got, like, something you would take and use in Doom. Like, this giant spinning saw handle. Just
It's like a giant circular saw. You're like, what the hell is this guy doing here?
So I immediately went for him first, just in case. And
he looked scary.
Took him out.
But yeah, so you're basically fighting the Shimano family with, and you have the Kazuma family shows up as reinforcements. Like,
Kashiwagi
shows up like a badass. Like, I love that guy.
That was very reminiscent. I wonder if the scene in Zero was like an ode to that.
I think it was.
Original.
I was thinking that too, actually. Literally, he shows up to bail you out at a yacht again.
And what a time for us to play it, being that apparently, everyone thinks it's already getting close to Christmas, being that it's November 9th. But when all the guys show up and they're like, what took you so long? And he's like, dude, it's almost Christmas. I did what I could as quick as I could.
I got you the biggest present.
So Yakuza Kiwami is a Christmas movie.
I'm in.
I'm just throwing up a thumb up. I genuinely appreciate that.
So you end up fighting Shimano again and his family. But at some point, like, you win the fight, right? And then, like, as Shimano's lying there on the ground, like, just had his ass beat, there's a grenade sitting next to him. And Shimano grabs this grenade and throws it at Kazuma, which it blows up and injures Kazuma really bad as he, like, because he throws it and Kazuma dies on top of Haruka to protect Haruka in that situation. And once that happens, like, the rest of Kazuma's group just unloads guns on Shimano. Shimano is plastered dead on the ground at that moment. I'm like, damn.
Oh yeah, dude, like bullet to the head too. Like there's no coming back from it. Like he's got chest bullets, head bullets, leg bullets. Ugh, God.
Yeah. And this was the second Shimano fight I mentioned earlier, and it was nowhere near as painful as the first one.
Yeah, I agree. And this is the point where Kazuma dies, right?
Yeah, Kazuma does die from the wounds from that grenade. But he does basically tell you that this money belongs to this guy named Kyohei Jingu, who used the Tojo clan to launder money. He's basically this politician who also happens to be
Haruka's dad.
And Yumi's
baby dad.
former lover, who left them once he had this political ambition. He got an offer basically to marry, like, the prime minister's daughter or something like that.
I think that's literally exactly it, yeah.
So, honestly, the Jingu thing sprung up super late. And it kind of felt like tacked on.
It was not the most best resolved of the plots in the game. Like, I would say that, like, I got a lot more closure out of both Shimano and Nishiki than I did out of Jingu, who just shows up.
Jingu sucked. But, like, this is where he gives Kiryu Sarah's will, tells him about Jingu, and admits to Kiryu and asks his forgiveness because he tells him that Sunflower Orphanages, the Sunflower Orphanage where he grew up and everything, is where they sent the children of the people whose parents that Kazuma had assassinated.
Fucking brutal.
Which is wild. Then the moment he hears that, all he says is, "But you're still my dad."
Yeah.
Which is so crazy. Like, I love that. Like, he's the most loyalist guy ever. Kiryu
But
is so cool.
Kazuma dies before you can hear that, though. That's why Kiryu shouts it to the sky. He's like,
That's
"You
true.
are my father!"
Oyachi!
And
Which always, I can't hear that and not think of Dan from Street Fighter.
Dan from Street Fighter, because he yells Oyachi at Sagat all the time. Yeah.
man.
And then you head into the finale, right, guys?
Yeah, and the finale is like, I believe you're in Stardust, and they're kind of like, we'll help you however we can. And you have to talk to
Here's some
Kazuki,
money.
right? Yeah, they give you, what, 300,000 yen?
Was it 300,000 or
It might
was
have
it
been
that
3 million.
much? I remember it felt like a very trivial amount at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say it was like 300,000 yen.
It was literally 300,000. That's the exact number. Because I remember spending more than that just to get the Shangri-La pass. I literally gave the guy the 500,000
me
he asked
too.
for.
I did. I took the middle
'Cause
amount.
I was like-
I paid the 300,000 for it.
I was like, money's no object at this point. Who cares? I'm not going to get 10 million yen and get the good darts. So I don't care.
That's fair. So yeah, I believe from there, you have to go to the Millennium Tower. And this is another point where I went on YouTube and I found Rain from Zero, because this is what struck me odd. This whole scene of you going up through the Millennium Tower and fighting had no music. It was silence and just you fighting. And I don't know if that was a stylistic choice or whatever, but I was missing some banging music while I was beating ass. So I went and found an extended 30-minute version of Rain and put that on and was like, all right, now he's going to be the mad dragon of Dojima. And we're going to go. And I went through and started whipping ass. I was stealing people's pistols and shooting motherfuckers. So there are a couple finishing moves in this game that I'm like, they say that Kiryu doesn't kill people. But like, I grabbed the dude by his face and then broke his neck with one hand. Just boom, broke his neck. He falls to his knees and then you kick him in the head. And I'm like, surely that motherfucker is now paralyzed at least.
Right.
The other one is the one by the wall where you kick the dude and then you grab him and you like slam his head into the wall where it's like his neck bends all the way backwards and then you kick his head like a super kick. I have a screenshot of that I'll pull up and I'll post in out of context. But man, like just some of the finishers were just badass, and I was doing a bunch of them during this. And one of the things that came in handy during this fight, because so many of them had weapons, were those moves that you learned, like when the gun people are coming at you, that you learned from the old man in Purgatory.
Yes,
I never went back to him. I never went back and learned anything else from him. But like the shit that he taught me from doing the guns and taking them away from people was super helpful during the end of the game.
For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're just
being able to throw out a naked heat attack against someone with a weapon is so good.
Yeah, dude, because it's just a good way to start off letting them know you're in charge here. But yeah, you fight your way up the Millennium Tower. You end up getting to the very top, I believe.
Where Ares is.
What's his name? Shinju? Was it Shinju? Shinjuku? No, that's Shinjuku is a place. Damn it! Why don't
Jingu.
Kyohei Shinjuku.
This fight pissed me off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this was my least favorite fight in the game.
This was number 2 for me.
So you guys didn't enjoy this one a moment either. When the Colonel's resurrected?
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah. I spent so long taking out the two Colonels who look like characters from Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
And then it was also Jingu up there. So they all three have guns. So you're having to deal with that. And
so you get like 2 hits and you immediately get interrupted no matter what you're doing by a move that immediately knocks you down and like costs you control over the game for 3 seconds. Because it's either a knife or a gun, and either way it does the ringing sound and you get no control of your character.
It's really frustrating.
And it just happens every 3 seconds for like 10 minutes.
This is a very badly designed boss fight.
So I'm assuming both of you did the same thing that I did, which was focus on the Colonels, knock them out, focus on the boss, and then when you get him to half health, the Colonels just resurrect with full health.
Yup.
And you get to do it all over again. And
it sucked.
Oh, man. But once you finally get through that and you beat the shit out of Jingu, which does feel good, some shit goes down where like he had traded alliances, and now like the leader of the Dojima clan is Kiryu. And this might have happened, some of this might have happened before you fight him for the first time, but I'm just going to lump it all together. And then, like, Jingu gets shot, I believe, and it's by Nishiki, and then Nishiki's there, and you end up having to fight Nishiki, because Nishiki's upset now that you're the head of the Dojo clan, or the Dojima clan, and...
No, you're not the head of Dojima, you're the head of Tojo. You are the 4th chairman now.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. Okay,
you're the head of the entire, basically, Tokyo Mafia.
The 4th chair, at least.
So there was a story in the beginning about like Nishiki getting the koi and Kiryu getting the dragon. It's the story of the koi, the legend, and it's why in Pokemon Magikarp evolves into Gyarados. It's because the koi swims upstream, and once it finally reaches the point upstream where it can no longer go anymore, the koi turns into a dragon, and that's the lore from Japanese mythology. And so it was really cool scene where Kiryu rips his shirt off and it shows that dragon tattoo, and then Nishiki rips his jacket off and he's got the koi tattoo, and then it does that face, the thing that's on the cover, the side face of each of them, which by the way, they did a good job on the pores on the skin and stuff. Like the skin looked really good there. There were some other cutscenes in this game that looked like remastered PS2 cutscenes. And I loved it. Like, I fucking loved it. I was like, look at those blocky fucking shits. That was great. But Nishiki, dude, this was a hard fight. Not that I lost, but like I used a lot of items healing myself fighting him because he had a lot of bars. I started to get worried about my inventory because I got down to about 4 healing items by the time I'd beaten it. Yeah. He was nothing. He's like Wu-Tang Clan. He was nothing to fuck with. Yeah.
Yeah, Nishiki finally learned how to fight.
Yeah, and then you finally, you beat Nishiki, and I'm trying to remember the last few cutscenes. Like, so Shingu shows back up, and he shoots Kazuma, right?
What?
And then
Kiryu.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Kiryu. I'm Kazuma Kiryu.
Yeah,
Kazuma. So they shoots Kiryu, and like he's gonna kill him, and he's gonna shoot the little girl. And then he shoots Yumi instead. And Yumi had like opened this vault. The vault has the 10 billion yen. She's like, this money shouldn't exist, so I'm going to destroy it.
She doesn't put a bomb in it?
She has a fucking bomb in a suitcase. She puts the bomb in there.
Yeah, it's silly.
And then she comes walking out. She gets shot because she blocks a bullet from hitting the daughter, who is trying to block a bullet from hitting Kiryu.
Yeah.
And the dude, Shingu, walks over. He holds a gun to Kiryu's head. Kiryu's still like, I'm Batman. He's just not going to like show any emotion other than like anger. He's got the gun to his head. All of a sudden, Nishiki appears. He's got that fucking wakizashi, and he just runs up and sticks it in Homeboy's stomach and just pulls up a little bit and pushes him into the fucking vault.
Yeah.
And then Nishiki takes a pistol and he's like, I'm going to end this here. I'm going to make sure that this guy never hurts anybody again. And I think he's going to shoot him in the head and walk out. And then he aims the gun at the fucking bomb and tells Kiryu, like, get them out of here. I'm sorry. Kiryu's like, don't do it. And he's like, basically just like, I have to do it.
You don't.
Look at me. I am Batman now. Boom. No, but yeah, he fucking blows himself up, and I'm like, bro, I was hoping to see you mature over some games.
Honestly,
we lost a lot of people in this game.
But honestly, by the end of this game, Nishikiyama was irredeemable to me. Like, everything, what he did at the end didn't even come close to making up for the bullshit he caused through the story of this game. Like, I understand that he went through a lot, and it was his character arc, and this is how he had to go out to try to redeem himself, but all the blood in his wake, all the great characters that died because of him, he's irredeemable, unforgivable. Like, I don't feel bad that he's gone after, because they could never have made this character favorable in my eyes again.
Yeah, and before we touch on the very end, I think this is a good point to bring up what I've been talking about with you guys, which is, how do you think we would have viewed this differently had we not played Zero first? And then, like, so say we played this before Zero, going back and seeing Nishikiyama and Majima the way they were in Zero. Do you think that it would have been more impactful? Or do you think playing Zero and seeing them that way first, and now seeing how they've continued to be on in the rest of the series, was a better way to go about it?
I think personally that I'm glad I played Zero first, because I got attached to Nishiki. I got really attached to Nishiki playing Zero, and I felt hella betrayed by Nishiki in this game. Like, I love Nishikiyama. Yeah. Nishikiyama was, like, probably my favorite character in Zero. Non-playable character in Zero, at least. Like, I love the guy. I thought he was the best. And then just to see his descent and turning into this evil piece of shit in this game, it, like, broke my heart. And by the end of it, I was like, yeah, I don't feel bad for you anymore. Like, what you've done is worse than what happened to you.
And being that they added a lot of the cutscenes and stuff to just add from what, you know, players took from Zero, I think that's a kudos to the writing.
Yeah.
Is, you know, making you hate Nishiki, but also makes it pull at your heartstrings because you remember the good guy that he was before all this shit happened, and you kind of watch his descent into madness, like you said, and it's fucking sad.
He didn't just jump from being like Yakuza 0, your sworn brother, to being like this monster. Like, there is a great transition over the course of it where you learn to hate him because he has given his soul away. And like, I feel like playing the games in that order really helped for that. Like, I loved Nishikiyama, and I felt so betrayed by him, and just the fact that I was able to hate him at the end of this game says a lot about the writing in this game.
Like, I literally had to mourn the person that Nishikiyama was, you know? Yeah. Like, because I was so attached to him in Zero, and just for this to have happened like this was like, it broke my heart.
So, then y'all basically agree with me, because like, I agree that I think that playing Zero first set us up for the best reaction that we could have had to this game.
I agree. And I think that's the way they intended it this time. They knew Zero came out, and they built Kiwami based from the first game, but also building off of what they put together in Zero. Yeah. Like, it's a retelling from the perspective of somebody that's played Zero, in my opinion.
Especially...
I think that's...
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just because I think that seems really accurate. That seems really, like, I think that they built this game to be equally enjoyable from someone who played Yakuza from the start as someone who just joined out Zero.
And Zero was the entry that brought a lot of new eyes to the series. Mm-hmm. So that's a smart decision, in my opinion.
Yeah, same.
So the part at the ending that really pulled at my heartstrings And I don't know if it's because of like the love that I've discovered recently and things, but like when they were that last moment when he's holding Yumi, which by the way, you do find out that Mizuki and Yumi are the same person. She's not dead, by the way.
Yeah.
We forgot to mention that part.
There's a lot of plot, guys.
Yeah, there is a lot of plot. Sorry, Adam.
I felt like we were hella over-explaining the plot, and then I realized we could spend another 30 minutes talking about the plot. And
So, basically, this is the girl that Kiryu's always loved, and it's also the mother of this little girl. So, Kiryu's holding her, and he's like, you know, I've been waiting for you. I loved you since the day we met, yada, yada, yada. I saved this ring for you. And she's like, you kept that? And he pulls out the ring from the beginning of the game that's engraved with her name. And he's like, yes, I kept this for you. So she unlocks the locket that the little girl has had the whole game. And everybody's wanted this fucking locket. And it opens up and there's just a picture of Kiryu in there. And she said, I kept this locket so I could look at it and always remember you. After I got my memory back, I didn't want to forget you. And then she got the tattoo on her chest, which is the Queen of the Night flower, which is, I think, supposedly supposed to grant a wish. And her wish with that tattoo was that she would get to spend one more night or at least see Kiryu again. And she got her wish. And then she dies in his fucking arms. And it's like, oh, that's so fucking sad.
Yeah.
Like this game was just like sad. There at the end, it was just hitting you with some sad shit. It does pop up at the post-credits scene is nice and happy, but like, goddamn.
Well, yeah, like the whole thing at the end is like the cops show up and they're like going to arrest Kiryu again, and Kiryu's like, fine, arrest me. And Date shows up.
I have nothing. He literally is like, I have nothing. I've lost the woman I loved. I lost my brother. I lost
my father died. Like everything.
My father.
And then Date's like, Kiryu, what the fuck do you think's going to happen to this little girl if you go to jail right now?
Yeah, she's going to be alone again.
And so Kiryu found something to keep going for, which was Haruka. So he basically adopts her, as his own daughter.
Yeah.
So,
which it makes poetic sense that it was from his beloved's daughter.
Yeah. Man, it's so good. It's so good. And then the ending where like, I was kind of sad that she was like, no, I don't want to keep the dog. We can just leave it here. Maybe it'll find its mom. I'm like, bitch, take the dog. Are you kidding? The most perfect bow on the end of this game would have been Kiryu walking away with that little girl, and she was holding that little Shiba Inu puppy. That would have been perfect. But no, instead it ended with just them walking away. Fuck that dog.
Yeah.
Is Santa real?
Yeah.
And then it pops up and it just starts rolling credits. And what a good game.
But the bizarre thing about when it starts rolling credits is the song choice that plays during the credits. For some reason, it's Amazing Grace. I was like, what? Okay.
Sung in English by a Japanese singer who is pretty good at English. Very good singer.
Pretty good at English, too. Not great, but pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was just a good experience. You want to do ratings?
Yeah, let's rate it.
So,
what did we give Yakuza 0? Because that is...
I'm pretty sure I gave it a 10.
I think we all just gave it solid 10s, didn't we?
Board,
I think it got 10s across the board.
Yeah.
So...
I think I might be the hardest on this game out of all of us. I think despite the fact that this game was a phenomenal follow-up to Yakuza 0, it didn't quite do enough to distance itself from really bad gameplay decisions that they probably made back in the day that they really should have fixed. In the end, I'm really happy I played this game, but I'm going to give it 8.5.
Okay. That's not as bad as I thought you were about to say. I will say this game...
What the hell did you think? I think I was going to give it a 5?
I didn't think you were going to go that bad. I thought you were going to go like 7.5 at rate. But the thing about this game is I was actually really surprised. I don't know if we really mentioned this, but it actually looked and played better than Yakuza 0, which I didn't expect at all. I thought it was a much better looking game, and I thought it played smoother too. And
outside of boss fights.
Well, yeah, and I also think it was an improvement mechanically over Yakuza 0 in every single way.
You know what? You're right. I'm going to upgrade mine to 9.
It's like, mechanically, it was an improvement to Yakuza 0 in every way. Where it failed to me a little bit, fail is a really harsh word that I don't mean, was story. The story can't live up to what happened in Yakuza 0, but Yakuza 0 felt like a culmination of everything and what people wanted to see from Yakuza to learn about the beginnings of Kiryu and Majima. And the fact that you got that in 0, and you had such an intertwined story where the two characters didn't even really meet, which was a brilliant decision in that game. I'm basically just reviewing Yakuza 0 right now, just to basically say that Yakuza Kiwami was a great game, but the story could not live up to 0, and it's 9 baseball bats out of 10 dragons.
9 bats out of 10 dragons. Agreed. Mr. Suter?
I liked this game. But...
The hell?
I know, right? The hell you say. But I guess the fact that it's shorter because it's a remake of an older game, and the fact that it takes place in the same city, and the fact that Yakuza 0 was so goddamn good.
Yeah.
This felt like a DLC to me.
Ooh.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean like this didn't feel like a fully fledged Yakuza game. This felt like another story. And it might be that all the rest of the games are going to feel like that because they all take place in Kamurocho, right? So it might just be that it's going to feel like a continuation of the last thing. I do think that the combat was more fluid and the graphics were smoother. But you guys both know I'm very, very big on story. And as good as this game's story was, it did not grab me the way that 0 did. I did really feel for the little girl, and I have a soft spot for that. But I'm giving this an 8.5. So, because I think that there's room for improvement over the rest of the series, but I'm going to give it an 8.5 with the caveat that if we play the rest of them and none of them really live up to 0, then I'm giving this a 9 in retrospect. But
I don't think any of them are going to live up to 0. I think 6 and Kiwami 2 are both going to be good. I think 3, 4, 5 are going to be a rough patch.
And then we'll be in for Judgment and Lost Judgment, and then
Like a Dragon.
No. We're going to Like a Dragon.
Yeah, no,
first,
I know that.
Right?
Yeah, I want to play Like a Dragon bad.
We absolutely do. We might do 7 before we get around to 6, unless one of us absolutely binges the fucking...
I wouldn't be opposed to that because it's a separate story.
It is a separate story, doesn't it call back to the other ones too, though?
Ooh, that's a possibility.
So I do worry about playing Like a Dragon before 6.
Yeah, I really don't want to get spoiled on 6, though. Yeah, you're right. I will ask people that I know that are more expert about the series than us.
But yeah, man, and then like that spin-off, the man who forgot his name or whatever, that's...
Yeah. And Ishin, I want to play Ishin. That looks really
game.
cool.
The man forgot his name is what happens with Kiryu between Yakuza 6 and then Yakuza 8, which is going to be dual protagonists Kiryu and Ichiban.
I'm down.
So much Yakuza.
Yeah. Buckle your seatbelts.
Yeah, dude. Like we mentioned earlier, this is going to be like, playing through the Legend of Heroes series or playing all the Ys games or like just these massive series that's like there's so many of them, but they're all fun in their own way, and it's just going to be a blast. I can't wait to do it with you boys.
Well, I mean,
hell yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind if it gets more concentrated, Ben. I'm already ready to jump right back into Kamurocho.
This is a Yakuza podcast now, sorry.
Yeah. Later, haters.
So, do you want to go ahead and run through the listener questions?
I think it's time to hit those fan questions up, and buckle in. We have a few of them tonight.
My goodness. Do you guys taking a break so I can use the bathroom real quick and get some more water? You guys just chitty-chatty for a second? I'll be back in less than 45 seconds.
Bang, we love you. And chitty-chitty-bang, bang, chitty-chitty-bang-bang loves us too.
You're not editing this out, are you?
Oh, probably not, because, if we're just quiet, then Truncate Silence will take it out. I have something we can talk about real quick. So, something I want to know. The fishing mechanics in Sonic Frontiers while we're waiting on Willie to come back. What's it like?
It's very rudimentary. It's not anything in depth. So, like the fishing in Sonic Frontiers, it's basically you cast out the line and you wait for a bite. You hit the button when you get a bite, and then like you get this circle that's around, and a smaller circle on the inside starts kind of going out around it, and you have to time it to where the circles line up with each other, and then you pull it in the fish. So it's not like a big in-depth fishing mechanic, but it's just enough to make me happy.
Well, I love the super serious screenshot you sent of Sonic's eyes when he catches the fish. That's super funny.
Yeah, that definitely reminded me of Yakuza in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
All right. So now it's time to go to the mailbag, kids. So our first listener question this week comes from our dear friend, Aries or Adam. Have you ever had a significant other that loves games as much as you do? No.
I don't know if as much as I do is exactly right, but I did at one point date a girl who played the living shit out of my copy of Dragon Quest VIII, and that's where it is now, so I would love to play Dragon Quest VIII, but she has it, so...
Rip.
Thank you, person who I'm not going to name.
I never did until now.
Nice.
Like, Megan's a gamer, so that's nice. But other than that, no, man. So when I was with Savannah, she told me that she was a gamer. And what she should have told me was, I like Super Mario Bros. 3 and only Super Mario Bros. 3. And I only want to play Super Mario Bros. 3. And I'm going to scoff at you anytime you play anything else.
It's a good game, but it's not that good.
Me and Nate literally said it's a good game at the same time.
I'm lucky if I can get Kayla to play more than like 4 races of Mario Kart with me at a time. So,
she used to be big on that Splatoon.
Yeah, she did get into
though.
Splatoon there for a while. I couldn't get her into Splatoon 2 though, and we haven't bought Splatoon 3 because I'm mostly a PC gamer these days. So
we've converted him.
All right, this one comes in from Adam. Now that Elon has bought Twitter, are we going to reach out to him for a sponsorship?
No, he's going to charge us for trying to talk to him.
Right. He's going to make us pay $8 a month so we can tweet about our podcast.
I will strangle him with my bare hands.
Sorry, what was the question? I wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire. Anyway, this next question comes from Fenris. There are so many games getting the remake treatment. What is your game that you want so bad, but you feel it'll never happen for a remake?
Ooh, the fantasy remake. The Kiwami of any game we could possibly get. You get the Final Fantasy VII remastered.
Dalton, what's Final Fantasy VIII?
I have 2 answers. Nate just gave away one. Okay, so Final Fantasy VIII would be great. You could flesh out the garden story more, the seed story, the sorceress. There's so much you could flesh out if they had more time and space. My other one, now this could either be, you could do it like Kiwami 1 and 2, or remaster them and then put them together on one disc, or you could just select one or the other and play through, is Persona 2 Part 1 and 2. So Persona 2 Innocent Sin and Persona 2 Eternal Punishment.
Right, because Persona 2 is 2 different games.
And then
right.
Innocent Sin is Part 1. And that's the one that, like, Innocent Sin...
Which part has Hitler in it?
That's the first game. I think that's the first game where Hitler's an enemy that you fight.
I was really expecting Nathan to react to that.
I've heard it before.
Nate's like, oh, Hitler's in Persona? It makes sense to me.
But Innocent Sin 1, or Part 1, didn't come out over here on PlayStation, but Part 2 did. And then when they remade them for PSP, Part 1 came out over here, but Part 2 didn't.
Okay.
So it's like...
Okay. So we don't have a complete Persona 2 in America.
So I would really love for them to just go ahead and localize that first game again, remaster both of them. Even if they leave the 2D graphics, I don't give a fuck. Just put them on a fucking somewhere where I can play them. You're giving us Persona 3, 4, and 5. Just give us 1 and 2. Parts 1 and 2 as well. Just like Persona 2, Parts 1 and 2. And they just give us all of them. We're going to buy them. It's money, Atlas. God damn it. Anyway, you guys, your answers?
That's a great answer. Great answer.
For me, it's literally any PlayStation 2 era Dragon Quest game. I want to play Dragon Quest 7 and 8 remastered. Like, look how 11 has done for that series. Like, everybody loves Dragon Quest 11. Give me 8 again. Let me be Yangus being a goober.
I love Yangus. He's my
Let me be Yangus in high def. Let's go.
I agree.
Shit.
And 7's one that I've always been interested in because I've heard it's so goddamn long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a super... I played it on the PS1 for a while, and I never even got close to finishing it. Nate, you're going to have to wipe off your chair after this, but you know how Super Castlevania 4 is basically a remake of Castlevania 1? What if there was a 16-bit-ish version of Castlevania 3?
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, we're going to have to wipe off his chair.
That would be really good.
Hear me out.
I would really love that game. That would be the ultimate Castlevania, right?
Take a Castlevania game and do it how they did like Wonder Boy, where they hand drew all the graphics.
Oh, well, you could switch the
then you
remake
could switch
graphics
them
on and off.
if you wanted. So like it could look hand drawn and badass, or you could go back to the NES and how that looked if you wanted.
That'd be amazing.
That's
That could
actually
be
really
cool.
sick.
It's
Yeah.
a dope idea.
Love that,
Right.
dude.
This one's from Kana. The flip side, a game you never want to see remade because it doesn't need it.
Dragon Quest VIII. I'm stamping on
Punch you in the
screens.
dick.
It already got remade, the DS
Okay, but-
version.
PC it. PC.
Yeah, it should. They really do need to make Dragon Quest for PC. So a game I really don't want to see remade. That's a tough question, because, like, I think what game would be killed by being remade? I think it has to be a game that was just so perfect the first time because it was such a snapshot of its moment in time that you couldn't even do it better today, like The Guardian Legend or something like that, you know? Star Tropics. Don't make another Star Tropics. Star Tropics 2D would suck.
I'm gonna say 2 games for 2 different reasons. One, Chrono Trigger,
Ooh.
because as much as I think that would be cool if they redid it like they did like Trials of Mana, people are gonna find reasons to hate it.
Chrono Trigger was also the perfect RPG of all
So
time.
my other answer is Final Fantasy VI, and my reasoning for that is the same thing: is that they could not do that without upsetting people in some way, and I also don't know how that game would hold up to people who don't have nostalgia glasses for it, because I was playing it through the Let's Play for the JRPG report, and I stopped doing that because I ran out of time. I just don't have the time for it anymore, and I feel bad about that. But also, like, it got to the point where I was having to make myself play that game. And I know that is fucking blasphemy. Arcader has just unsubscribed. Like, because he went on a whole thing about how much he loved that game. And I had fun with it, but it just, while I played, I had fun. But while I wasn't playing, I had no inclination to play it.
I'll put it this way with Final Fantasy VI. I need to play it again, and maybe it'll do the same thing 7 did for me, where I will like it more now than I think I will.
Yeah, I feel like my problems with Final Fantasy VI are more spiritual than actually with the game. But, like, Final Fantasy VI literally had the Pixel remake that came out, like, months ago. Obviously, that's not what we're talking about here, but the Pixel remake is just months
and people
old.
bitched about it.
Yeah. A lot of people.
bitched about it. The
They
only
complained
problem
about the font.
literally the only problem I have is the
I've heard
font.
people complain about the font. Some people just said that they preferred the classic sprite look. They didn't like how they done it in the new one. But they said the same thing about the mobile
Then go
ports.
play the old game!
Like the Steam version
And go play the old game.
that I have is the mobile port. You can't even buy the one that I have anymore. They don't sell it anymore. But I don't mind the sprites the way they look. But that's just me. I don't have that nostalgia for the original Super Nintendo, graphics. So up next from Fenris, what is the one game you have on your wish list that you really want, that you always say that you'll buy if it goes on sale, but it never do?
A game you always want to go on sale?
No, I think what it's asking is a game that's been on your wish list for a long time that you say you're going to buy, then you never do.
You'll buy
Oh,
that you never do buy it rather than it never do go on sale. Okay. I misread it.
I know. Well, the way I read it, I was immediately thinking of Dark Souls for Nate. Dark Souls never goes on sale.
Nate's wanted to get the Dark Souls remastered.
The reason I haven't bought it is because it has not gone on sale since I put it on my wish list.
Yeah.
Games that I have had on my wish list for a long time that have gone on sale multiple times that I just have not bought, though. Tekken 7 and Street Fighter 5. Like, I would like to play them, but then I see Tekken 7's on sale literally right now for $13.49. I'm not going to buy it now, even though I want to play it. I'm just like, I have a lot of other things that I'd rather be playing, TBH.
Yeah. Also with fighting games too, it's like you need at least like a couple buddies that play the same game, or it's going to be a little rough. I don't really use my wish list, so I got nothing on this. Like, I have a wish list on Steam. It has like 4 games in it. It's just random shit I clicked it on at one point.
So 2 that jump out to me. Ooh, Gesundheit, my friend. The 2 that jump out to me are Serious Sam 4 and Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord.
Oh, Mountain Blade 2.
I
nice.
want both those games really bad, and I've seen them go on sale a few times, and just been like, I'll wait till they're a little cheaper.
And they never get cheaper, huh?
So far they haven't. But I mean, I think Mountain Blade 2 is still relatively expensive. I mean, I'm sorry, new.
New, expensive, same words, honestly.
But dude, The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky is the 3rd is $30, not on sale.
Jeez.
So I definitely wait for those games to go on sale as well. Usually the yearly JRPG sales, they go up.
Yeah, I mean, Trails in the Sky the Third, when did that come out? 2007?
No, hold on. The third came out. Oh, hold on. I scrolled past it.
I mean, that's been a while.
So the release date of Trails in the Sky the Third. Oh, this is going to give me the release date on Steam, but it's May 3rd, 2017.
Yeah, that can't be the original release then. That'd be the PC version rather than whatever the first release was.
I'm not sure what the first release was.
I guess I can look it up. Fuck it. Rails the
I want to say it was on
Third.
PSP, so it would have been that era.
2007. I said it right the first time.
Was it the first?
It came out June 28th, 2007.
Oh, okay. So then it was the first game that came out earlier than, or the second game, first and second game were earlier in 2007. That's right. That's right, because they were early 2000s PC games in Japan. Yeah, okay. We got there. We got there eventually.
We know things.
But yeah, okay. So let's see. What do we got next? You want to take it back over, Nate? You want me to keep going?
I don't know where we are. Sorry. So go ahead and take the next question.
We were the next question was from Team Retrogue, and the question is: what would you say to someone who has an amazing backlog of games but can't stop playing Final Fantasy XIV? And usually, what I would say is, "Hi, Team Retrogue."
I mean, stop playing Final Fantasy XIV.
I can speak to someone from experience of this. My best suggestion is the same advice I gave to you on YabSpot about this is just pull the needle out of your arm. Just unsubscribe if you want to. If you're enjoying the game, fuck it, just play. But like, if you want to get around to your backlog, the only way that you're going to get around to it is either A, you stop playing Final Fantasy 14 and play your backlog, or B, start a podcast playing through your backlog. That'll force you.
C, just go play Terraria. You don't ever get around to your backlog, but you end up playing Terraria, so win-win.
From my experience, I've had games where I have sunk a lot of time into that when I finally stopped playing, my life got better. Like, I used to spend like at least 3 hours a day playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And yeah, and when I stopped doing that, I was like, oh man, video games can be fun. So I don't know if you have that same issue with Final Fantasy 14 where it's just not fun anymore, but you're grinding it because that's part of your life.
Yeah.
If it is, stop.
The funny part is Nate would message me when he's playing Super Smash Bros. He was just hating it the entire time. He's like, oh, I've run into another character that I freaking hate fighting against. This guy sucks. This isn't fun. I'm not having a good time. I'm like, please, just go play soccer or something, dude. You could be having fun in life.
So, the next question is similar to one we already answered, but I'll go ahead and read it anyway. From Team Retro. What is a retro game that you want to see have a complete and total remake?
I'm sticking with Dragon Quest VIII.
I'll toss out the one that I tossed out on YabsPod. So I would like to see a remaster, and I don't know how they would do it, if they wanted to do it 3D style like they did Trials of Mana. I don't want to see the 7 remake. It doesn't need to be that level. It can be AA, you know what I'm saying? But the ActRaiser trilogy. So like ActRaiser, Illusion of Gaia, Terra Enigma, and put them out in a collection, you know what I mean? And just have people buy them, and I think that would be a blast.
Hell yeah.
I would like to see Hexen, which is probably the Doom engine game that people like the least.
And just update the shit out of it.
Like, just make it not suck, because there's some really cool ideas in the game, but there's some really bad ones. I
own Heretic, Hexen, and Hexen 2, I believe.
I haven't even played Hexen 2 before, actually.
So the next one's from Team Retro. What are you most looking forward to in your journey to play all the Yakuza games?
Honestly, just more of Kiryu being Kiryu and Majima being Majima. I don't need anything else but for those two characters to be themselves, because they are both perfect in their own ways. I've never felt like that attached to two like characters that keep appearing in the same series over and over again as I have for Kiryu and Majima. Like, God, these guys, I love them so much.
I concur with that. I agree. I was really looking forward to seeing how the bro ship would evolve over the games between Nishiki and Kiryu.
Sad.
I thought that might last longer.
That is not going to happen.
Yeah.
So now I'm very curious as to what's going to happen with this girl.
Haruka.
Haruka.
Yeah, what happens with Haruka next? I guess I absolutely love the cast of characters we have already, but I am really stoked to see how it feels to play the JRPG style like a dragon. Like, that seems like it's going to be really neat.
Oh yeah, dude. And you know me, I love JRPG, so I'm like, biting at the bullet to get to that.
Yeah, I honestly think that Like a Dragon, even though Nathan has never played it and will not play it for another year and a half or so, I already think it might be his favorite game of all time.
There's a lot going for it, 100%. It feels like a real possibility.
I mean, yeah, the main character is basically you. He's a Dragon Quest stan.
There's a kart racing game.
There is a kart racing game in it. So from Paul of the Wayward Cross, if you could put Kiryu or Majima into any other game, which one do you think would be the most fun?
Okay,
I would put Majima into every other game ever made, period. I don't care how much sense it makes or doesn't make. You're just halfway through Celeste and all of a sudden he bonks you off the cliff.
I was actually thinking something very similar, like, what if there was just a Majima-style character in a Sonic game, where Sonic...
Majima all the time, time.
You're just playing Sonic Frontiers, and here's... I don't even know what kind of creature he would be. He's not a hedgehog, but Majima just pops up, and you have to fight Majima right then and there.
He would be a snake.
Oh, that's so good.
He would be a one-eyed snake.
Oh, wait.
Hey.
I'm pretty sure that innuendo was always intended the moment they invited this character to the game.
I'm slow and stupid because I didn't catch that.
That's like Ukulele when you meet the snake wearing pants and his name is Trouser.
Yeah, Trouser Snake.
Motherfucking Trouser Snake. Are you kidding me? Man, I put some thought into this earlier, and I came up with one that I thought was really cool, and now I've done damn forgot. So imagine
dragons.
You load up
Radioactive
Shadow of the Colossus.
Shadow the Hedgehog of the Colossus?
And on Aggro, the horse comes riding in, is just Kiryu. And you go up against all these monsters that are like kaiju, and what does he do? He just like punches them. And you just sit there and you just have to combat them, and then it becomes like a War of the Monsters game, but it's just Kiryu fighting. Also,
I really do feel like the story of Shadow of the Colossus would have been 0% different if Kiryu was the main character. Genuinely, he would have done the exact same thing.
I would like to play a collectathon as Majima. Like a Jack and Daxter style game where you're just like
Majima
Zooey. That would be fun. Or like a Metal Gear game with one of them.
Kiryu and Majima are Banjo-Kazooie. So you just have Majima popping out of your backpack as your Kiryu trying to collect everything.
Occasionally he still fights you.
Oh man, okay. From Laxby, who would be your favorite antagonist from the Yakuza series? Or if you...
That's unfair. We already have tipped our hand really.
I'm not sure I consider him an antagonist. So...
He's maybe a dude.
He's an anti-hero.
He's an anti. I'll take anti-hero.
Are we all talking about purple jacket guy from Zero?
I was talking about Majima.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of what was his name? The one who ended up going out like a hoss.
Awano.
Yeah.
Oh, Awano,
I really liked Awano.
He's more of an anti-villain.
Yeah, but he still can't. I thought we count him as a villain because he is one of the three major antagonists in that game.
Yeah, for sure.
So
that's a good answer.
His part 2, because I'll just throw this in here anyway. What would be your favorite Sega antagonist?
Favorite Sega antagonist? Damn, that is a...
I'll start with the Yakuza part 2. Mine is Lieutenant Kuze from Yakuza 0. I just love everything about Kuze.
Yeah.
He's just honor-bound, straight-up, real-ass Yakuza. He didn't give a shit about any of the politics. He just wanted to do what he was supposed to do as a lieutenant in the Yakuza. And he was damn good at it. Just Kiryu was better.
And when he comes down to it and he's like coming up at you in your face and he's just like, dude, you beat my ass last time. I've got to try to beat your ass this time. Like, that is so respectful.
Kuze was just the Yakuza's Yakuza. And he didn't die in Zero, did he? Because I would like to see him again. I think Awano was the only one that did, when I think about it.
Awano got murked.
Right.
Yeah.
Kuze Yakuza. Damn, I gotta look it up, because if he's not dead, what the fuck happened to him after? Maybe he just retired or something.
My Sega one's going to be kind of basic, period, because I can't go against Eggman. I love Dr. Eggman, like Sonic antagonist. You can't really fuck with it.
That's fair.
Now, is Robotnik and Eggman the same person?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Yes.
I mean, Dalton, you can reach back into the whole Atlas library, too, for your answer for the Sega one.
I know, my answer should just pretty much be God.
Apparently, Kuzai ends up becoming a civilian, is the best guess given by the Yakuza Wiki.
Yeah, I mean, God is a pretty big antagonist, true.
I mean, there's so many JRPGs that you play, and at the end, you're just fighting God. And I know, I can think of one Sega game in particular that happens, so I'll just, that's God.
Who's that?
My least favorite antagonist in a Sega game is Vincent from Catherine. Fuck that game and fuck that guy.
That really is the worst.
The only thing good out of Catherine is that game like semi-spawned the art style for Persona 5. Like that's the only redeeming quality of Catherine to me.
My favorite Sega antagonist is Hatsune. One day she will kill me. Glorious.
All right. Willie, did you give your favorite Yakuza?
I said it was really obviously
okay.
Majima.
Okay. So the next one's from Madokin Queen, old Steph, and I feel like this one's directed at me.
It is.
When will you play a video game with me again? Well, here's the thing, Steph. For one, I don't think you're listening to this. For two,
stop playing Dead by Daylight and play a game that's fun.
I would love to play like Devour or Boomin or Inside the Backrooms or what was the other one that we really liked? It was the Tomb one. Starts with an I.
Mario.
Doesn't matter. I'll play any of those games, but here's the thing. I usually work during the day when you like to play. If you would like to play at like 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, I'm all for it. You just got to pull a late nighter one night and let me know. I'll wrangle in some people. I'll wrangle in these two, or I'll wrangle in Megan. Something. We'll figure something out. We'll play. But like playing at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon just usually ain't going to work for me because I'm usually at work. So yeah. The next question comes in from Jeff. El Jefe.
Hi, Jeff.
What was the last series that hooked you like Yakuza did? Is it Trails and Persona?
Probably. Oh shit.
Well, that was probably, and I'm going to agree with Willie. Is it's probably Trails for me. I don't know about you, Nate.
I can't say I'm hooked into it yet because I've only played one game. We'll see how.
But I'm really committed to wanting to know.
I do want to play
next,
second chapter, but like right now, I'm like I like it a lot and it has the potential. But I think the last series,
it's not Dragon Quest.
Yeah, it's Dragon Quest
right?
for me. Like Dragon Quest, the last game that really hooked me and made me want to do everything about it.
Okay.
Oh, so that was your pick too. I just meant that Trails.
Yeah,
was
but
no
Dragon Quest is my pick. Yes.
I think that's a great pick.
A dragon and 2 trails. All right. Oh, they're down here. Okay.
Yeah, so a few more.
I had to scroll. Okay, so from Adam, what is it that you like most about the Yakuza series? And I'll throw a so far on there.
Okay. For me, it's a more of a general vibe. So what I like the most about the Yakuza series is how it goes from this very dark, very serious and sincere main story to the wild absurdities of everything in the sub-stories, from your interactions with characters, with Majima, everything. Like, I love how it can take me to multiple different ends of the spectrum there, where I'm feeling so deep and dark and into this storyline in one moment, and laughing my complete ass off at Majima in the next. Like, just the way that it gives you kind of whiplash between those two, it's just brilliantly designed, brilliantly put together.
Yeah, that's literally exactly what I was thinking, and I wanted to expand on that and say that, like, I feel like the way the show, like, the games make you want to laugh with the characters, builds you an attachment to them in such a way that, like, if it was just seriousness all the time, if it was 90s edgy Spawn or whatever, you would get nothing out of it in the same way that you do in this game, because, like, you've laughed, you've played with these characters, you've had fun, and now when bad things happen to them, you're invested.
Yeah. Because like when Reina died in this game, I was heartbroken because I'd grown so attached to her, and then she betrayed us. I was like, no. And then she died. I was like, no, you were best girl.
Yeah, like 45 minutes ago, she just broke my heart. And now I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
you can't be dead. Please.
I think the thing I like most about the Yakuza series, and you guys kind of mentioned it, is like their ability to build characters and really make you care about these fictional characters in a way that when they die, it invokes emotion in you. How many games have you played where characters have died and you're like, oh, that sucks?
Yeah.
But like you said, it was like your heart got ripped out when Rina dies. It's like, no, damn it.
Hell, even forget a character dying. It's like, I feel bad about the little guy that races slot cars and had trouble getting a girlfriend, you know?
Yeah, it's just, their ability to make their characters relatable is really what I think I enjoy most about it. So Adam, your next question is specifically for Turtle Bear Man, and it's, can you tell us about Sonic Frontiers? And here's what I want to tell you, Adam, is I want you to restart this episode. And I want you to listen to the beginning again, and you will get your answer to that.
Just listen to the whole episode again. It's fine. And then when you get back to this point, do it again. Just
hold on.
And then donate to our
Delete
Patreon.
it.
And then
Re-download it. Listen to it again.
Yeah.
And it'll be a never-ending loop, and you'll never get to hear the last couple questions. Which, the next one is actually also from you, Adam, which is, are there any Yakuza likes you would recommend? And I have one that jumps to mind, and that's it. So if you guys have any.
It's not really... It's the closest thing I can come up to one, honestly. And it's not super Yakuza-like, except for in the fact that it's a 3D beat-em-up. But I would recommend Batman Arkham Asylum, because I feel like it comes the closest to that kind of vibe. But it's no Yakuza as far as story and all that goes.
But if you did want to play a game that was a 3D beat-em-up open-world game that lets you have fun and laugh with the characters, but also rips your heart a little bit, I would highly recommend Spider-Man Remastered.
Okay. Not answers I expected from either of you.
Nice spike in set, dude.
I have two answers for this, now that I think about it.
No, we just really love those games.
They were fantastic.
Too.
Yeah.
My first one that jumps out to me is Sleeping Dogs. So Sleeping Dogs is basically Yakuza,
sure.
but in China. You're in Hong Kong, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's basically been described to me as like, what if John Woo, but Yakuza?
And then the other one that jumps out of my mind is like a little less combat focused, a little more story focused, might not have aged as well, but it's Shenmue.
That is the precursor to
ultimately,
Yakuza,
I feel like
sure.
Yeah, I really do consider Shenmue to be Yakuza minus 2.
I really, really want to play the Shenmue games sometime.
Yeah.
Going into them knowing that they probably have not aged well.
Oh, yeah.
Going into them knowing that there's a quest at some point where this girl's like, yeah, we have to take it's 2 hours to walk there, and we'll get there in no time, and then you walk the 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, there are things like that in that game, but the whole time you're walking, they're talking, they're building character, and things like that. So, again, it's like, I want to just experience that and why people love the Shenmue series so much.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, and like, Yakuza wouldn't have got there without Shenmue. Grand Theft Auto 3 probably wouldn't have shown up without Shenmue. Like, it is definitely one of those games that built this genre before it was a genre. So I'm really interested to see that just to, I don't know, just to learn my outfit.
It's one that you definitely, I feel like, I haven't played either, but it's one that if I go to play it, I have expectations. I know it's going to be rough. I know.
Yeah.
But that's part of the charm of it, I feel like, at the same time. So, like, if we do get around to playing that one at some point, it's one I'm going to put the time into, but I'm not going to convince myself that I have to win, you know?
Yeah. And luckily, at least now, it's like you can get them as Shenmue 1 and 2 remastered. They come in a collection together. Nice. And then there's Shenmue 3, which I think you can get cheap, but yeah, I don't know. We'll worry about that when that day comes.
Shenmue 3 might have been free on Epic at some point, so I think I might have it.
That's a possibility. And this last one comes in from, now, is this Lysandra? Okay, I just want to make sure I got the name right. This last one comes in from Lysandra. Did any of you get the scene with Majima at the porn video store?
No.
No, I did not either.
Damn it. I was really hoping you did, because she made it sound like it was going to be really
so none of us have seen it?
None of us have seen it.
I didn't spend much time at the porn store, shockingly, right?
Yeah, I went back there one time because I found like there was like a weapons store you could get stuff there, and I went there to buy cars for my circuit.
The only place that I remember that remotely looked like a porn store was this pinkish room that I went in with a bunch of pictures of girls. And I would talk to the guy, and he'd be like, "Oh, let me take you to a cabaret club," and like that.
Oh no, yeah.
That's MAB on Taihei Boulevard. The one we're talking about is on Pink Street. It's a little DVD
Oh, they
store.
know. I never even went in there.
Yeah, I went in there, but I didn't get the Majima encounter there. Dang it. That sounds awesome.
Me neither. I know, now I want to see it. Hopefully we'll report back next
I would have loved to
episode.
have gone to a cabaret club and you go in and your hostess sits down and it's Majima in a dress.
Hey, good news, buddy.
Oh, does that happen?
That happens.
Oh, yes. That's fucking amazing.
That literally happens, actually.
Yes.
He calls himself Garomi.
That is fucking tremendous. Please, if you got a screenshot
I
of
do.
that, let me see.
Hold on. I took
Oh, I'm
so
sure
many
he does.
screenshots while I played this game, bro. Like, everything just made me so happy while I was playing this. It might take me a minute, so go on, keep talking. And I'll put this in the chat in a minute.
I think, but yeah, I think those are the. I wish I would have seen the porn thing, and I'm still trying to think of some more Yakuza likes. Maybe like Streets of LA, but Adam already played True Crime Streets of LA, so that's more Grand Theft Auto-esque. I mean, I don't know. Grand Theft Auto is kind of like the American version of Yakuza-esque, kind of. It's less of a beat 'em up and more of a sandbox, but
Yeah. Maybe Saints Row.
Dalton, check out a context.
so, okay, let's go. Let's see.
Let's see, just clicking into there real quick.
Oh my
Yo.
god. Yes. Oh, that makes me so fucking happy.
The thing I love the most about the Yakuza games is you're like, my ideal Yakuza game would include this, and we're just like, yeah, it already happened, dude.
Oh my god, that's fucking tremendous. Well, gentlemen, that leads us to what are we playing next?
Ah, yes.
So we have been summoned by a patron.
Oh, they got that soapstone. Wait, is soapstone what it's called in Dark Souls? I haven't played Dark Souls in a while.
Yeah.
You know what? Don't worry.
Yeah. So, but we were summoned by one of our patrons who pays $20 more a month, and they chose a game for us to play, and they are going to join us with it if they would do so wish, and I do believe that they do. We are going to be playing One Kingdoms of Amalur, a game that I think was severely overlooked in its time because it released around the same time as Skyrim. So it kind of got buried by that. But I mean, story by R.A. Salvatore, designed by Todd McFarlane. You can't go too wrong with it. And Nate, I believe you've dabbled in this and said that you actually do enjoy it.
Yeah, so far what I've played, I've liked a lot. So I hope there's fishing too. I haven't found it if there is.
I don't think that there's fishing. I apologize.
I'm literally
I don't think
unplayable.
there's-
0 out of 10.
I'm going to play a different game this week. I'm just going to play Mario Maker 2.
There's no
and y'all
fishing
deal
in
with
that
me
either.
on the podcast. There's no fishing in Mario Maker 2.
I'm just going to play
What the
Sonic
heck?
Frontiers.
Oh, well, there you go. There is fishing in
Which
it.
does actually have fishing. He's proven it. Nate already caught a marlin.
Oh, boy, I got me a marlin. Oh, man. So, yeah, Kingdoms of Amalur. I look forward to it. I had a lot of fun playing it back in the day on PS3. I look forward to putting more time into it on PC. And
I'm looking forward to getting into this. This seems like an overlooked gem, and definitely one I would not have even thought of if it weren't for the podcast shining its light on it.
I do have Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, and I also have Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning, and Re-Reckoning was the re-release of it. So I'll probably end up playing Re-Reckoning because just the quality of life improvements and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I do also have memories of the original that I can talk about and compare.
Yeah. I'm definitely playing Re-Reckoning, so...
Yeah. And then, we'll sort that out. So, then let's go do some house cleaning and get up out this bitch, shall we? If you would do us a super massive favor. Oh, wait, by the way, did I mention that it's Team Retro? It's Team Retro.
Yeah, you did.
Yes.
Did I? Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Sponsored.
And he is now under our umbrella. So, shout out to him.
Ella.
Leave us a review on iTunes, and Spotify. Yeah. If you Willie's fucking just like stroking his beard like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. But yeah, if you would leave us an iTunes review, a 5-star review, that would be sweet. Or if you want to leave us a thumbs up on Spotify, we would greatly appreciate it. I used to plug social medias here, but there's only one that really matters anymore, and that is bit.ly/TSMP Discord. Come and join the Discord. It's always popping up in there. Everyone's super nice and welcoming, and it's wonderful. Come join the family. Ask your questions. You can ask questions for YabsPod too. All kinds of good stuff up in there. And there's also sections now for Team Retro's content and Adam's Revival and Extinction content. And it's nice to see the community also interacting with them as well. It's nice. If you would like to join our Patreon and support the show, which we would greatly, greatly appreciate, it is
If you think that great umbrella joke was worth giving us money for, then
it's patreon.com/The Steam Machine Podcast. And if you donate $10 or more, you can be like, get shout outs like these wonderful, wonderful fuckers. Nate Sir Cogsworth, the 7th of Juniper, Jeff, the original expendable, Mr. Syllables, Old Jeffy Lube, Mr. Grumpy himself, Aries Sir Adam, shout out to his podcast, Revival and Extinction, James, the Steam Machine Hall, Monitor Hall, and Team Retrogue. Go check him out on YouTube. Thank you all very, very much. If you want a shirt, tsmpproductions.threadless.com. You can get a shirt, you can get shoes, you can get a bag, you can get underwear with our logo on it, whatever you would like to get. Shout out the Abs Pod, yet another BS podcast, a weekly podcast that me and Jeremy put out where we just shoot the shit for a few hours. Shout out to JRPG Report, my family-friendly JRPG news show that I do each and every week, as long as there's news. Sometimes it's bi-weekly. And if you like the music from the show, you can go check out my music at nilethenightmare.bandcamp.com. You boys got anything you want to plug?
if you want pants, go to Target.
If you want coffee, go to Dunkin' Donuts. Wait, we should not be plugging people.
If you want pants,
they do not sponsor us.
Yeah, you know what? We're giving away the milk for free.
And if you want funny game talk, then tune in 2 weeks to the next episode of a Steam Machine Podcast. And until then, they are the Destructo Pros. My name is Dalton, and as always, guys,
I sing for you.